Welcome to a Trucker's Mind podcast. I'm Eddie McGee.
It's your boy K Things.
We're back, man. Episode 354.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Let's get right into it. You don't hear any things on my mic? We're straight over here? Mm-hmm. Okay, just making sure. I kind of heard a little bit of probably your beard rubbing up on that microphone or something. All right, let's get right into it, man. Look, we don't want to beat down the whole narrative of Travis Hunter because that was a thing that we talked about and moved on from. But there's been more, I won't say advancements, but more going into that situation, unfortunately. I think this shit has turned into downright internet bullying. And it's not helpful to Travis Hunter in any capacity. My take on that whole scenario with him and his girlfriend was this. It was, if someone is not being helpful or beneficial to your future, you need to drop them, regardless if it's a man or a woman, right? Now, what I will say is I don't disagree with what I said, but I want to add some nuance to it, and it's this. They are fucking barely over 21 years old. That is the main narrative that I want to push. They're kids, man. Mm-hmm. They don't know shit about shit. They don't know anything. And there's a lot of people like, she ain't ready to be a wife. Well, he's not ready to be a husband either. If you're this foolish over a relationship, then you shouldn't be anybody's husband or wife. But they're both they're both young people in the public eye trying to be normal, and it's not working. And then now there's a bunch of receipts that people are pulling up of his fiance, and it's her doing some shit she probably shouldn't have been doing. But I mean, look, man, it was some dude grabbing her booty. She was in the bed with some other dude and all kinds of shit. But here's the thing. There's a lot of men that are coming after Travis Hunter, talking about him and calling him weak. Somebody even made a rap song. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
He's like, I ain't no Travis Hunter. Some. Don't trust the hoe. I ain't no Travis Hunter. And it's like, a lot of these guys that are talking about Travis, your girlfriend or your wife was just like that girl he's dating back in the day, but you don't know it. Mm-hmm. I seen somebody chiming in on Travis Hunter, and I know his wife. And I'm not trying to speak on anybody. I'll keep this very no name. But like, I knew what your wife was about back in the day, mm-hmm. right? And that's not to be shaming anybody. I'm just saying that people are young, and when people are in college, they're exploring a lot, including their sexuality. And, she was probably doing some shit she was going to be doing anyways, and what a lot of men and women have done. I just think it's in the public now. And not only that, what I think the biggest thing to take away from all of this is stop putting your relationships in public. Keep that shit off the internet. We live in a society where people do not respect relationships anymore at all. They do not respect them. Keep your shit private. Keep it private, please, because I'm going to tell you something. You don't know who you're going to be either. Some of you guys are aspiring to be somebody great, and you got your girlfriend or your fiance all over your page. Shit's going to get real when somebody is on your page sending death threats or calling your wife a ugly bitch and shit, and you like, what the fuck is this? In order to protect the person you're dating, keep them off your fucking social media. Keep them off. A lot of people are going to disagree with that, but I just think that personally, if you know where you stand in your relationship with the person you're dating, that's perfectly fine. But the moment you keep broadcasting things when you keep broadcasting shit that really doesn't help your life or someone else's, people are going to come after you because they don't have anything else to do, man. Mm-hmm. This is the internet where everybody is looking for some type of leverage against you. It's fucking sick. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Imagine us, Keith, in X amount of years. Somebody's like, Eddie thinks he's this, but he used to date such and such, and she said he was an asshole or blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. And it's like, bro, like these people really think this is normal. Mm-hmm. That's the shit. It's just a scary time, man.
Yeah, I think what started out as some sort of concern about Travis Hunter turned into people just trying to go viral. Like that song, the Travis Hunter song, I don't know who the artist is, but that's just like somebody trying to hit a lick. Like they just know that it's a popular conversation and they made a song kind of catering to that. I just think that that's a little corny. But I think I don't really, right at this moment, I don't really have anything to say about their relationship. Like, I think a lot of people on the internet believe that. I think that there is a lot of emotion involved. Like, it doesn't feel good for either one of them to log on to Instagram every day and see some negative comment about their relationship. So I understand that, but at the end of the day, it's not really doing nothing. Like, if you really cared about Travis Hunter and, his well-being, you probably wouldn't be sharing pictures of his girl like getting her butt smacked or like dancing on somebody. Like that's not helping him in any capacity. So I don't know. I just think it quickly turned from that whole idea of like, dang, I'm looking out for him. I don't want him to get taken advantage of, to like, oh, I'm gonna just spread the most negative things that I can about his fiance. And I think that there's nothing really, she hasn't done anything like all this like retroactive dancing and just different things. Like, it doesn't really say anything about her, because almost everybody has a some sort of compromising version of that in their own life, whether it's a guy, whether it's a girl, whether it's you've been in the relationship or you've been on the opposite end of that.
Yeah.
Like there's a picture of her, I don't know if she was like going to the bathroom or something. It's just like, dog, this is like a Snapchat like weird video that probably shouldn't have been taken, but it's just like some nigga that was just excited about like smashing, and they just can't put their phone down.
It's weird.
It's weird.
It's weird for men to kiss and tell like this too.
Yeah. So I just think that and then some of the other things where like the girls dance, I'm just like, dog, I've been to many dances, and at this time in our lives, a lot of those same women are in relationships. They have children now. They have their own careers. And, if in my era, these are young 22, 23, 21-year-old people, like, so they're much younger, and the version of their parties in, just different scenarios that they're in, their phone is just out more. Mm-hmm. I just think that like you could see that about anybody. Like it's just like that's not an indictment on her because she was dancing with somebody. Like I've seen that far too many times where, like I said, people that are in very healthy, committed relationships at the moment. So I just think that the internet is, and then she was in a music video. It's like that's how I know like a lot of these people haven't really lived life, because like the way that goes is like, it's a local rapper, and it's like, hey, like let's hit up the girl that's like semi-attractive in town, and then they hit her up like, hey, you want to be in a music video? And she like, yeah, sure, I would love to be in a music video. And she go be in a music video, and then that's that's really what it is. Like the artist wasn't even like super popping. And I don't know if that was like her boyfriend or whatever, because she did say that she dated some rapper.
SoundCloud rapper or whatever.
Yeah, but even in that scenario, like whether they're in a relationship or whether it's just her being hit up, like, dog, that's not an that doesn't mean like, that doesn't really say anything about her quality of being a wife or not. So I just think at first, those little things like where she's frustrated or mad, my thing is it doesn't look good. That's just what I'm saying. It doesn't look good. But also it doesn't mean like that she's not the right person for him because she was mad or frustrated at any given time. Because people have to start realizing like if you're commenting and you're in a relationship, like has your girl been frustrated before in public? Or like have you been mad at have y'all been shopping or something and you mad at your girl and it looks a certain way? And like, is that an indictment on the totality of your relationship? And if it is, then it is what it is. But if not, then it's just like we have to stop judging, these people based off of like, these small fractions of moments. I would also say like, why are we being so negative? Like they have YouTube videos together where they're showing each other love and they like laughing together and smiling and talking about like how they, they live together on campus and all these things. Like, why isn't anybody sharing that stuff, But the internet is just so negative, so that's why it looks like that.
Well, negative garners attention for one, and two, that some of the moments that have been shared have been very fucked up and very negative from a sense of it just does not look good. One of the things saying that Travis Hunter would take her to a party and wait outside, and he would just be waiting outside while she partied, and like he wasn't jealous or anything. And it's like, look here, man, I think as a man, at some point, this shit just looks fucking terrible. But that's why I don't think all of the onus and attention should be on her. They're both very young people. But if you're going to say she can't be a wife, then how can he be a husband? Like, I just think that they're young people and they got to figure it out. And maybe they just probably don't maybe they don't need to be together.
But
maybe they'll figure it out. It just doesn't look good.
But what I say, like, who's to say like what a marriage should look like? Like the internet? You're talking about people that are not even like all these podcasters that are like talking about their relationship. Most of them are not even married. Like they don't really know what that actually looks like.
Marriage doesn't give you a qualification to speak either, because over 50% of people get divorced.
Yeah,
So,
but I'm saying like there's no qualification to marriage outside of the two people loving each other.
there's not.
That I mean I just don't understand why we have a conversation about whether they should get married or not.
I think ultimately the update of the conversation was more or less about society and how they're viewing it and how men are pulling up receipts on a girl. And it doesn't look right, especially men that were dealing with her. If it was sexually, you're pulling up receipts from her on Snapchat and shit. That's
an indictment on society.
That's an indictment on society. That was more or less the reason for the update. But I'm not gonna sit here and cap and act like the shit that's gotten out is it's okay. That's just their relationship. It just, from an objective standpoint, doesn't look good.
Yeah,
whether it's complaining in front of fans to your fiance, that looks bad. Like, regardless, if it was something like them having a little moment like that after the game, like where I guess she didn't want to kiss him or something, who gives a fuck about that? I think that things like that happen, right? But the public display of that while he was signing stuff, that doesn't look good. You mentioned that he waiting outside a party. What person makes their partner wait outside during a party while she's drinking inside of there for hours? That's weird.
That's just weird. I don't know if that's an indictment on their relationship.
Some niggas like abuse. I don't.
This is weird.
That's just weird. However, here's the thing in totality. I don't think me, Keith, or any podcaster should have the ability to even have much of a conversation. The reason why these conversations happen, because it's actually a big story, but it's also true that some people are overstepping, calling her, she's just a stupid hoe and this and that. She's a whore and this and this. And this nigga Travis is a corny ass nigga. And this, like, these conversations, those are just wrong. Mm-hmm. That's a complete overstepping of literally doing that. Not to mention, like I mentioned before, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but we've reached a time where people just simply don't respect relationships. I made not a comment, but I made a comparison. Remember back in the day when people would come out as gay and it was like a big news? It was like front page news. Mm-hmm. You notice nowadays when people come out as gay, it's not a big deal anymore, right? That's just how people look at relationships. Back in the day, people like, so-and-so is dating so-and-so. And then people was just like, it was a big deal. Mm-hmm. Bro, nobody give a fuck about that shit no more. They looking for every reason to disrespect your relationship. Mm-hmm. They're looking for any reason to say, I used to fuck her, man. Yeah, you with her now? I used to smash her back when we was 18. I used to smash. Mm-hmm. The girl be like 38 years old. You talking about when y'all was 19.
Yeah,
people are weird, man. Just keep this shit off of social.
Yeah.
And ultimately, regardless of how dysfunctional or whatever's going on in your personal life, that is not for other people's consumption, man.
I think the hard part about most of this is that whoever she was dealing with was roughly the same age. So you talking about somebody that's 20 years old, 22 years old, that's like posting these videos, you know? And it's just like, you're talking to just young, dumb kids at this point in time. But I think all in all, like there needs to be some sort of law against like some of this stuff going on. Like for people to be posting, and I see it. People are just waiting. People be like hoarding like pictures and stuff, and they're just waiting for the opportunity for somebody to come into some sort of notoriety or something like that, just so they could leak a picture in that capacity.
What I would say, my message to in regards to some of this stuff to women is this: I think you can live your life. And I think men and women are on the opposite side of the same experiences, right? So if we're having sex, you're having sex, right? But what I would implore women to do is make sure that you're living in a way that is not so, I don't even want to say reckless, but it's not so out there. You should care only because you got to realize how society is. And you see how many men come into the internet pretty much shaming her, right? And I think that it's preventable in a way. I think you need to question every man you come across, because the truth of the matter is don't let this nigga pull out a phone and record you ever. Like, ever. Don't let him pull out a phone and record you at all.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because the moment you become, let's say you was getting your freak on from like 18 to about 20, 21 years of age, and by the age of like 27, you know, or let's say at 27 you get married, but you've been in a relationship for a few years, you found a decent dude, and then one of these suckers that you was fucking with when you was 19 send a video to your husband or some dumbass shit.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there needs to be some awareness for women to not let these niggas record you ever.
Yeah.
Like, for nothing.
Yeah.
And if they do record it, be like, hey, don't post that. Don't put that on there.
Mm-hmm.
Because look what's happening, man. We're recording everything and putting it on live. And some dude got shot and he's like, yo, I just got shot. He put it on live. Like, dude, use that phone to call the police or an ambulance.
Yeah.
It's a strange time we're living in where we're taking these phones and we're putting these phones in situations they shouldn't be in, such as like even people taking photos or videos in the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
A bathroom is where you take a shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I remember this one dude had a video going. He was in the gym like flexing, and some dude laid a loud ass shit fart. Like, you know when you shit and it just blow out loud?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, what the fuck, bro? I'm like, he's in the bathroom, nigga. That's where he's supposed to shit right there, right? But I went on a tangent, but we're literally misusing phones is basically what I'm trying to put through there.
Yeah. I think anybody needs to have the foresight that they are going to be something different than what they are currently, right? And I think in hindsight, if I don't know her name, I forget her name, but Travis Hunter's fiance, I think in hindsight, if she could go back and, you know, and just realize like, dang, I'm at a party, I'm having fun, or, you know, I'm at some guys, whatever the case may be, whatever situation she's in.
Yeah.
If she knew that she was going to be in a position where she was going to be engaged to, you know, top 3 pick in the NFL draft in a few years, I think she would move a little different.
Absolutely.
And I think that, you know, we can learn from that, you know, like,
absolutely.
Young people now, like, and maybe they're just so young that they can't see like what their life is going to look like at 35 or 40 years old or whatever the case may be. Or, and I think that's how a lot of people move. But we have to realize that when it comes to this phone and capturing things and it's not like in 2010, you know, when I had got, you know, I'm not my first cell phone, but, you know, when I had a cell phone back then, we didn't have like cloud storage. So we didn't really have a situation where, you know, I have the iCloud and whatever phone I upgrade to or whatever, like, it's just on there. It used to be back in the day where everything you had on your phone was just on your phone.
Right.
And maybe you can, like, you know, move it over through like some sort of storage or whatever the case may be. But for the most part, like, it just was sitting on your phone somewhere, you know, and that's just what it is. But now, like, nothing ever dies. No. You know, like we have, like I mean, this is a tangent too, but we hear about like Whack 100, right? And Whack will be coming in and he'll be like, yo, I got this footage on a hard drive. I got Nipsey Hussle, or I got Drake, or I got Kendrick Lamar on a hard drive doing something like this. And it's like, dog,
bros, that's not a
dog. We on like, you could throw that hard drive away and it still be on some cloud somewhere. Crazy. Like, unless you really delete it and you go in and you know where everybody's thing and you know, you make sure they didn't email it. Like, that's what I'm basically saying is if it gets recorded and uploaded or saved to your phone in any capacity,
it's there forever.
It's there forever. So that's how you got to move. You got to move in a way where it's like, I'm not sending nobody no nasty photos that I don't want out in the world. I'm not, you know, I'm not taking no pictures that are, you know, that I wouldn't be proud of 10 years from now. Like, I think now with this technology, we got to move in a way where we just have more foresight as to what we're going to be.
You don't know who you're going to be. It doesn't stop with just women. I think men have to be careful with how they treat women, how they talk to them and stuff like that, because you might be just a regular dude. You working at Domino's Pizza, whatever the case, and then all of a sudden you become one of the biggest comedians in the world, and you've got all this history. You calling women bitches and stalking them and doing all kind of crazy shit, And then while your comedy tour is going on, you got women pulling up receipts of you being a psycho from 10 years ago. Yeah, it happens. These things have happened before, which is why it's important to really consider it. I think more young people need to consider it more than ever. Another thing too, because society, there is double standards that affect men or women, but more importantly, like the whole idea of a hoe phase or being a hoe or whatever, it affects women because they're shamed for it. Here's the fucked up part. Women now, they can't even really go through a hoe phase because that shit is being filmed in 4K. They can't do nothing no more. That's the part that's scary, bro. They'll be like, it'll be some dude like, and it won't even be something that they recorded themselves. They could just be at a party somewhere and some dude is hugging them and be like, and somebody's recording it, which is crazy. Why are they doing this? I don't understand. Like, I've seen dudes like back in the day, we had them flip phones. So I don't know if people really cared too much to record too much stuff back then. You know, it was one dude on the football team back in the day over at BC. I won't use no last names, but his name was Keith. And he was like,
it wasn't me, guys.
Yeah, it wasn't Keith. It wasn't him. And he's like, yeah, look, she's slobbing me up. Look. Had a video with a 1 megapixel recording him getting head.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, we don't want to see that, man.
Yeah.
Some dudes are really that fucking ignorant. They got to show them getting head. It's like, man, don't just, fellas, young men too. I don't know how many young people that are really that listen to this. Don't put women on video. Just don't do that.
Yeah.
And don't talk about what you did with her too.
Yeah, both ways, man. Like, just put the phone away. Unless that's what you want. You want to be on OnlyFans for a living, like, then do your thing. But like I said, if one day you're gonna have a child, that's gonna be of age where he's gonna, be on the internet, and somebody, you like, dog, like the way that stuff works now, they'll pull up something from 15 years ago and it'd be like, hey, this is your mom, John.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
God. Yeah. We haven't reached there yet, but I'm telling you, the OnlyFans documentary is going to be wild when it come out. Because right now, OnlyFans is still out, right? But they're going to shut that whole platform down eventually because they almost did it like during the pandemic. They wanted to take all the sex work off of it. Yeah. But then they ended up putting it back on. But now what's going to happen when they take it off this next time, it's off. And if they whatever other platform they try to take off, like, or whatever, it's going to affect that industry. And all those videos, I'm telling you, all those OnlyFans videos that they thought were behind a paywall, they're going to be all over the fucking internet. There's been multiple interviews I've seen of like a dude and like his wife or some other people. They're like, we did OnlyFans for 3 years, and we gave our lives to Jesus Christ. And it's like, and then somebody in the comments said, we appreciate the growth, but why do you still have those videos live on your social media?
Dang.
So you still making videos off them sex videos, but you give your life to God. Like, bro, that's the thing that's scary, man. Yeah, I'll bring this last thing up, and then we'll move the fuck on. Do you hear Des Bryant weighed in on it? You see that?
No, I don't really care what he has to say.
Yeah. In short, he just basically said she ain't the one for you, man. You got to move on, whatever. She said she wasn't going to elaborate on it no more, but she keep talking, whatever the case. And then Pac-Man Jones responded to him. He said, I have no advice for Travis Hunter. Jones said, I don't understand how somebody else can have advice what he likes. This is what he likes. And he said, I don't even know if Dez has a girl, and Dez is my boy, but like, come on, Dez, shut the fuck up. You don't know anything about relationships. I don't even know what relationships you've been in. Yeah. And then said, what did Dez do, among other things? He wrote on X trying to address Hunter. So here's the thing. This is nothing to get in beef about. I didn't even do like I had a thought piece about this, and I wanted to make a TikTok, but I was like, I just don't feel comfortable talking about this. If I do, I'd rather do it in long form on an actual podcast rather than just be like a 2-minute video, and it's not it, bro. It's oversaturated as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I think we covered it. I don't really have anything to say about Des Bryant. He's just a former football player. Like, who cares what he has to say?
People care. He has a name. They did when Bow Wow spoke about it too.
Yeah.
But
I mean, when I say who cares, I mean I don't care. That's what I really mean.
Hey, you got to say what you mean, Keith. Going into 2025.
Yeah.
I think ultimately though the overall conversation was just society.
Yeah.
And how you really shouldn't put too much stock into what they think, what they say, or what's going on. I know a lot of people, a lot of women more specifically, are going to struggle with the idea of not posting their partner. They're going to think you're hiding them or whatever the case. But truth be told, how many more examples do you need of people disrespecting relationships before you understand that this is not a place for you to bring it?
Yeah. I mean, it comes with the territory. I mean, in any sort of like, I don't know. I feel like there's going to be a person in a relationship that has foresight, and then there's going to be one that doesn't really have the same amount of foresight. So I think for you know, you just got to, sometimes you're not always going to agree, but you just got to, you know, stand on what you stand on. And if that's the decision that you're making for yourself, your relationship and everything like that, then so be it, you know?
Yeah, that's true. You do have to have the foresight.
I think, but I would say this, sorry to cut you off. I would say like, I think sometimes like a lot of this stuff be like a little fake. Like, for example, like, I'm not even going to say the scenario because I don't want to make it specifically about them, but there was a scenario on the internet where somebody got mad for like the baby daddy posting their child, right?
What?
And then fast forward, you know, they do a whole video together with like, you know, celebrating the child's birthday or something like that. So it'd just be like, it's like you got to pick a frustration, like like it, you know. I think so. I say that to say like, you know, if your decision is to keep your children off the internet and like that's a real thing, then like just do that, but don't be like, you know, okay, only I can post them, or we can only post them together, or you know, it's like
Absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, like why? And I feel like one thing I would say too, like logistically about children posting children. Like a baby, it doesn't really matter if you post a baby because it just look like a baby.
Yeah.
Like it's not a situation where you're gonna post your baby and then you're gonna see the baby in like out in the world and be like, oh my gosh, that's such and such's baby. It's like it's just a baby. But it's different like for when you have kids that are of age, like that are recognizable, like at school and different things like that, then it's a little different. I would say like, dang, it's, you know. But if your decision is just not to post your child, then just do that.
Before the podcast, Keith showed me like a TikTok, not a TikTok, but it was a X post of a fan that caught J. Cole out.
I was on Reddit.
On Reddit, it was on Reddit. They seen J. Cole at, where were they at? Magic Mountain or Disneyland?
It looks like a Disneyland or something like that.
So they seen him at Disneyland. J. Cole had a mask over his face, but you could tell if you know J. Cole, it's J. Cole.
Yeah.
And they took a picture, but they blacked out his kids. Like they literally took a marker or like this, you know, a screen edit, and they blacked out the kid's face. So here's the thing: J. Cole is a guy that's very, you know, closed off about his relationship with his wife and, you know, his kids. He don't post that stuff. So the fan was so in tune with how J. Cole presents himself that they blocked out the kids. Yeah. And I thought that was dope. I think that even though they took a picture of him, which I would not take a picture of any celebrity personally, I just wouldn't, just because I don't want to make a circus out of a human being. Unless we have a genuine interaction. First of all, if we're not working with somebody in some capacity, I don't see the point. Oh, it's Charlamagne. Let me take a picture. I would never post that shit on social, ever. Yeah. You know, but I think that they had enough respect for his privacy of his children to black out that photo, which I thought was pretty cool. But
yeah,
that's because that's the type of energy that he's brought into his life. And I think that people can see that. Charlamagne the God's another guy. You don't know what his wife looks like really, or his kids at all. And that's important.
Yeah, it might be one or two pictures on the internet of Charlamagne's wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think, you know, there's something to that, like as far as with J. Cole. I think even if we don't know nothing about, he's much older. So a lot of that, his experiences were like pre-phone, social media, internet, you know, days. But I think that with even with Travis, I think and he's learning in real time, so I think he would probably move a lot different. Like, you know, he shares himself, not really shares himself, but he, like I said, he has vlogs with his girl and stuff like that where they're doing like little house tours and things of that nature. I think he's gonna shut all of that down now because it's just what he's experiencing now is that he's no longer the you know, the average. I mean, not say average, but like the really good football player. Like now he's in a position where he's the the best football player in the country, and I think that he has a very public relationship, and they're nitpicking.
Absolutely.
At this point. Yeah.
I think that we're going to have a huge, I think when the pendulum swings too far one way, it's going to swing back. I think we're going to have a huge switch when it comes to not only like modesty of like women not really exposing themselves as much. I think there's going to be an overall change in how we communicate. I think that social media is causing us to overly communicate, and it's giving us more technology for us to communicate too fast. I think there's going to be people starting to use these light phones that Kendrick is creating. I think there's going to be people who are they're going to start adopting a lifestyle where they're on their phone less, and I think that is going to become a trend. And I think that people are most of society is still going to be overly connected, but there's going to start to be a slow swinging of people that are taking themselves off social because it's causing them anxiety, suicide, all these things, and they're going to start getting off. I really believe that. And I think that like this whole idea that we're seeing like Travis Hunter's girlfriend just being abused on social media and, dudes pulling up. I think that these scenarios happening enough is going to take people, their relationships are going to become better, I think, because they're not trying to prove it to social.
Yeah.
So when you take your partner off of social media, you're only proving something to them and not to a platform, which I think that could actually help.
Yeah. 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 I think I can see that, it's just, there's powerful things that come from our phones. There's been people that made a lot of money that they wouldn't have, pre smartphones. But yeah, I can see people retroactively or doing it in a way where, okay, I'm going to get on social media or I'm going to create content for social media, but I'm gonna post it on my laptop. I'm not gonna do it from my phone. Like I'm gonna curate everything just because I don't know. You see it like J. Cole talks about, getting off of social media. Like, and he's a very successful rapper. Like he's created a world for himself where he can still promote, still sell albums, records, without being so tied to the internet. And I think that we can learn a lot from that.
Kendrick is probably the best example out.
Yeah, he has the light. He says he has his phone is broken. He talked about that on his last album.
Yeah.
So, we don't need it.
Yeah.
As much as people like to say, like, oh man, you need you need social. You got to be like, you don't need it, dog. Not at all.
No, not at all. Because we keep looking at Kendrick like we don't know what you can't envision what his wife looks like. You don't know what his kids really look like. And he's created a world where he's the biggest artist, but he's not around. You know what artist I really respect? I just seen him on TikTok. He posted like a new rap video, and he mentioned in the video like what do you call that? Just giving himself not being available. Being not accessible. He mentioned something about not being as accessible. And that's Jack Harlow. Jack Harlow is a guy who is like literally hiding in plain sight now.
He just released a song too. I seen it was trending. I don't know. I didn't hear it yet, but yeah.
I heard it. It was pretty dope, but it was just real hip hop, like real hip hop sounding record. And I respect that because at one time he was like the guy that was like next up. It felt like Drake was almost grooming him to be like that next big artist. But the album that came out really wasn't all that great. And I think he probably changed his tune. Like, I don't want that.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that, but I would say like he got hits though.
Yeah,
like
he does.
His albums ain't probably like at the standard that he wants it to. But every time he dropped, he got like a #1 single. So he not hurting at all.
Yeah, not at all. All right, let's go ahead and move on, man. I think we've given that enough time. Damn, how long was he on that? For a little bit?
34 minutes.
34 minutes. You guys got 34 minutes of straight trash conversation. I'm just fucking around. All right, let's get into it. Switching gears. New Year's resolution. Or, in other words, it'd be, instead of New Year's resolution, a life change. Yeah, because I'm not really into resolutions. I'm into making legitimate life changes. My personal, I won't say life resolution, but life change is to be active every day. I think I've mentioned that on here maybe once, and I've upheld that this year. I mean, by being active every day, if I'm not lifting weights, then I'm at least taking a walk. You know, and especially as you get into your later 30s, it's important for you to always move. The body was meant to move. The human body was meant to move, not to be stagnant or sitting, you know. So, yeah, and I already sit for a living being a truck driver, so I don't have the luxury of just sitting more. That will completely fuck my life over. Anyways, all right. I have a couple things I put here. Keith's going to also chime on them, and that is make sure your word means something. I think a lot of people get caught up in, you know, flaking out on people and you know, canceling plans at the last minute or saying they're going to do something and end up not doing it. And, like, don't be a bullshitter. Everyone fucking hates a bullshitter, man. Don't be that guy. If you're going to be the person that says something, stand on it. Don't be the person that's just constantly doing it, because today it happened to me. There was a situation where I was supposed to have my truck worked on. I'll leave the person nameless. I have no problem with them, but they said, oh, yeah, I'll do it, and they never called or texted me back. But I didn't text them, hey, are you still coming? Are you going? I chose to eliminate the expectation because I know that people are full of shit, and they simply will not get back to you. I think people create a hierarchy of who they consider important or not, or what issues they consider important or not. They don't give a fuck how it affects you or anything. They just move on with their life, and they're like, oh, my bad, I didn't get back to you. It's like, okay, motherfucker, when you need help and somebody does you like that, you better never get mad.
Yeah.
You better fucking never get mad, dude. Because it happens a little too much. It's no different as well as people that say, I missed your text, right? You know, they're like, oh, I missed your text. My bad. Dude, I'm at the point where if you tell me you missed my text, I'm getting ready to tell you to fuck yourself. We live in a time of the most technological time in American history. And you are on your phone all the fucking time. Even if you're a person that claims you're not on your phone. Yeah. You're on your phone. You know the people that never post on social media? I'm talking about they never post. They never post anything on social media. But when you're with them, they're always on their fucking phone. Yeah. What the fuck was that noise out there? God damn.
I don't know.
These motherfuckers, somebody's always making noise downstairs.
Yeah. We're downtown, man. It's a lot of crazies.
Oh, yeah. Somebody's probably getting out of their car. Anyways, and I just get distracted by it, man.
Squirrel in the podcast.
They always get me, man. When I try to escape, they just pull me back in.
Yeah. Some yoga, man.
No, I'm just very hyper aware. Plus, we know where we're at. It's like not the worst, but it's not the best area. So when I hear like certain noises, I'll be like, oh shit, is it the car getting broken into down there? Yeah. Yeah. Well, I shouldn't be worrying about crime while I'm trying to speak to the people. Yeah, but don't be a fucking bullshitter, man. People don't like it. They don't at all. And don't waste your time. And you know what the most ingenuine thing that people do? Even if it's a date and, you know, because I've had chicks flake out on me or be like, oh, actually, I can't make it. I'm sorry. And they wait till the last minute like that's going to make it. That's like the least genuine thing you could do. Yeah. If you cancel a date, I'm fine with that because I don't have expectations of what any woman should do for me, right? Especially at this age. I have zero expectations. But what I will say is there will be no second date depending on how you cancel. If you cancel on the date and you do it like 2.5, 3 hours early, and you say, hey, I can't make it because of this, but, you know, hopefully we can set something up again. I'll be like, hey, no problem. You take care of your business. And I'm not going to be mad, but I will not set up a date. You're going to have to do it now. Yeah, if you canceled on me, what the fuck I look like setting up another date? Yeah. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think that, I think just in general, most people don't have a strong relationship with their word. No. And I'm not speaking from a place of like I'm on this pedestal because I'm a victim of it sometimes as well. But I just think that most people aren't aware of it. No. So a lot of people live their lives in a way where, you know, they'll say like, hey, I'll hit you up tomorrow. And, you know, or like, hey, I'll pick you up. You know, I'll pick you up. Let's say somebody needs a ride, or, hey, I'll take you to work tomorrow if you need it or whatever. I'll hit you up in the morning or whatever. And then that person is expecting you to call them or waiting on that ride, and they just sitting there until they late to work and they got to call an Uber. And, you know, so it's just many scenarios where people, you know, they just talk to talk. And I think that when you start to do that habitually, you start to create a version of yourself where it's like, you're just untrustworthy, you know, like people can't really, like you said, like you create this world where like people's, their expectations of you are lowered just because you haven't really done what you said you would do. And that's how people move their life, and they don't really move throughout life, and they don't really care, you know. And it's like what a lot of people don't realize is there's real consequences on the other side of like you not doing what you said you were going to do. And you know, there's some light stuff like, man, tomorrow I'll do this or tomorrow I'll do that, and it doesn't really impact the world. You know, it doesn't really have that butterfly effect. But it's some grand things. Like for me, there was a situation where years ago where somebody asked me to edit a video for them, and I didn't give it back to them in the time that they needed, and they lost out on like thousands and thousands of dollars in scholarship money. You know, and it was a situation where I wasn't really aware of until years later. But that's what happens. Like, that's what life looks like when you don't keep your word. Like, people are really impacted and really affected. So I just think moving into the new year, it should look like if you said you're going to do something, then you do it, right? But also, if you said that you were going to do something and you either change your mind or you can't do it in some capacity, you have to have that conversation. You know, you have to, you know, restore that integrity in some way, shape, or form. Because it's just the world we live in. Like, you know, if you're committed to doing something, it's not always going to work out. You know, like you may just be physically tired. Like you may, you know, say like, hey, let's go to the beach today, and then you gotta, you know, send that or make that phone call like, hey, I'm not going to go to the beach today. I'm really tired. I'm just going to sleep in. We can go next week. You know, whatever the case may be. Like you just have to have that conversation because when it looks like, oh, I'll hit you up, but it just never happens. Like
fuck that.
You just leave people waiting around. And I think that like there's a healthy version of that. And when you do things like that, where it's like, hey, I'm not actually going to go to the beach today, or hey, like, you know, further thought, like, you know, I don't really want to go on this date. I'm not.
Say what you mean.
I'm not going to go on this date. It's fine, but like people aren't left with this idea like of what was supposed to happen, or like what, you know, people just sitting around because it's like there's like, I'm just saying that there's an impact on that. But I just think overall we as people have to not feel pressured to say yes to something because of some like external pressure. Like we got to be, if it's something like, hey, do you want to go to this? No, I don't actually want to go today. Like we just got to be more comfortable with saying no to people. Like, hey, there was a time even where I was with my boys and we were shooting this music video, right? And somebody came up to us and he was like, hey, like, what are y'all doing? And then he was like, oh, you know, we're just out here shooting a music video. And then I was like, oh, that's dope, man. That's really dope. Like, what kind of, you know, music? It's like, oh, it's a hip hop song, whatever. And then he was like, oh, man, I've been really looking to get into like videography and photography. You mind if I like, you know, you give me some advice? I'll give you a call or something like that. And I just told him, I was like, nah. I was like, I don't really have the time for that. And he was like, you sure, man? I was like, yeah. I was just like, nah, I'm not really going to commit to that. No, it's a complete
sentence.
Yeah.
You need to respect people's no's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I say that to say that more people, like if you really not going to do it, like, then just say no. You know, don't be a person, because that's just like, that's very passive. Like that's just like soft communication. Like if and I've done it. I'm not saying I'm above any of this, but if there is a scenario where you like, man, I don't really want to do this. I don't really want to get this person my number. I don't really want to go on this date. I don't really want to do whatever. Like then just say no up front.
Yeah.
Versus like, you know, ghosting somebody after you said you're going to do something.
Yeah. Also, here's the thing. This is what we got to learn in 2025. If let's say you ask a chick on a date and she's like, okay, I'll let you know. That means no.
Yeah.
Okay. Understand, when people don't communicate directly,
that doesn't mean no though. You know what I mean? Like it means no because we're interpreting it, but on that person, they just got to say no. Like,
thank you.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Say what you mean, but also learn how to decode bullshit. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, you got to have a BS meter.
You got to have the bullshit meter, but you don't have to bullshit me. I think that what it is multiple reasons, not just a male-female thing. I think from the male-female thing, I think that women, if they have said no, men need to learn to respect the fucking no. Okay? But, you know, I think it's also true that people need to say what they mean. Ladies, stand on business. Like, honestly, I don't really want to go. I really don't want to go tonight. And that should be all she should have to fucking say. That's it.
Yeah.
And I think it's important for us to also just say what we mean. Like, when I was like, I mentioned that, you know, my truck needed some work. He's like, okay, for sure. I'll let you know what's up. I'll hit you. Right? I'll hit you up. Nothing happened. I didn't see like, hey man, are you busy now? This and that. I took that he said, okay, I'll hit you up. That just means whatever it means. It's not direct communication. So when someone's not directly communicating with me, I'm like, well, maybe this is how they communicate, and I don't care.
Right.
And because the result is not direct. And not only that, even if you said yes, it doesn't mean a yes. Just, I think it's important to not create an expectation behind what a lot of people say. Because a lot of people have been proven to be very, very fucking unreliable.
But I think even with that, like it's not that you have to let things slide, but I think you still can have the conversation. Like, hey, I mean, and you can do it. And I'm not saying that it's anybody's responsibility. Yeah. But if it was there, like, hey, bro, I was waiting on your call yesterday. You said you was gonna call me. My truck is. It needs some work. You said you was gonna hit me up. And you don't even have to ask what happened, or you don't need no excuse. But just say like, hey, you said you were going to do something and you didn't do it. So
you're right. You're right. But here's the other flip of it. The other flip side. Some conversations are just unnecessary. I think that if you show me that you didn't care enough to get back to me, then nigga, keep that same energy. Keep it. It's okay. You've shown me you show me what you were about. I'm not gonna hold a grudge against you. I'm not gonna speak bad about you. I'm not even gonna be mad at you. But nigga, will I ever call you for help? No.
But the only reason I say that is because it can become very inauthentic if that's like that conversation is not like if it just if it's just pushed to the side. Like if you say, you know. I know your scenario, but I'll just make up a hypothetical situation.
No, you got it.
So if there's a situation where, say, for example, I just had a kid and I'm like, I hit up this photographer and I'm like, hey, you know, can you come through the birthday party? Like, you know, it's going to be dope. Like, you know, it's first birthday party, whatever. You know, I just want to get some flicks with the family, the people there, whatever, and you know, get some printed or whatever the case may be. Come to birthday party, this person don't even show up. Like just completely gone. But I also work with this person. You know what I mean? So come Monday after the birthday party, I see him at work and he's just like, hey man, did you watch the football game? And like we don't even talk about the thing. Like that's the type of thing where I think like can become very inauthentic. It's like, no, we have to talk about like, you know, you not showing up to the thing first. And maybe you don't. Maybe, you know, I'm not saying that that's like something that, you know, anybody has to do. But I'm just saying there is space to have that conversation because like the person didn't honor their word. And, you know, it's okay to be like, yo, you said you was going to be there and you wasn't. And now I don't have no pictures of this party or I only have cell phone pictures of, you know, people that aren't professional photographers or something like that. So I just think it is room for having those kind of conversations.
There's room for it but here's the thing. If that conversation pops up, I'm not going to be the one having the conversation. Usually it's the person that committed the wronging of whatever scenario it was. They simply did not, they did not come through with whatever service they were supposed to provide or said they were going to do. And they remembered that they were insufficient, and they're the ones that usually bring it up. They're like, oh, man, I was going to hit you up, man. I was busy that day, this and that. And it's like, I mean, that doesn't help me now, motherfucker. I needed you then. So, I mean, I'll just be like, oh, it's all good. But even though it's all good, I don't care. I'm not ever going to ask you for anything. You know, and let me say this, because I've said this before on the podcast. The way you behave and the way you conduct yourself and the integrity that you have is like a credit score. No one forgets how you made them feel. So when you walk around out here and you don't put any value on what other people need and you just like, I'll get to it another time. Yeah, whatever. Nigga, they don't forget about that shit. And you keep on doing that. You keep on fucking people over. You keep on saying you're going to do something. And you go ahead and keep bullshitting people. Once you get labeled a bullshitter, no one gives a fuck anymore. You're going to lose jobs like that. You're going to lose friendships like that. You're going to lose relationships like that. Nobody likes a bullshitter. Nobody. Okay? Here's the difference. You could be a bullshitter or a person that doesn't say what you mean. Let's say you're successful, right? Let's say you're successful, you got a lot of money, whatever the case, right? And then here goes another guy, a guy with high integrity, you know, a respectful guy that says what he means and he pulls through, but he's on a hard time. Let's say he's living out of his car. The guy that's living in his car that's on a downtime, if he has a history of treating people the right way and he's a decent person, he's a decent man or a young lady or whatever the case, there is a chance that there's somebody that will help him from his situation. But if you're a piece of shit and you a bullshitter and you got a lot of money, when you fall, you ain't never gonna get up, nigga. You gonna stay buried at the bottom because you've been treating people like dirt and you've been a bullshitter the whole time. You gonna have to find a way to pull yourself up from your bootstraps because ain't nobody gonna help your ass. Your life is like a credit score. And you need to stand on what you're doing, man. I'm telling you, not just because it's 2025 coming up, but you really need to do a deep dive and think about how you're treating other people. Because, man, let me tell you something, dog. I've done a lot of examining my character and things of that nature, and I found things that I'm very proud of in my 39 years. And I had some things that I'm like, I need fucking work on. But most people really don't have that. What is it? Like the introspection or whatever, where they look inside themselves and find what they need to work on. It's people that's in their 40s, 50s that ain't doing shit. They don't see nothing wrong with nothing they did.
Yeah. I think one of the things that I think the best place to start, if this is like a practice that people are trying to do, is to do it within yourself. You know, like there is places in our own lives where we don't really have integrity, you know, like
absolutely.
Somebody said that they were going to lose weight or hit the gym or, you know, and a lot of it is like little stuff, whether it's a commitment to, you know, always, I don't know, keep your car clean or, you know, just those little things. I think it starts like with the small stuff, you know, starts with the things where it's like, you know, just simple things like showing up on time to work and things like that. There's people that show up to work late every day.
Every day, yeah.
And it's just like, dog, your job starts at 9 a.m., but you getting there at 9:05 every day. And the manager ain't really saying nothing because they not micromanaging you. But that's on you. That's on you to get there, you know, to get there on time.
You'll be ultimately punished for things like that, and this is why. If you're supposed to be there at 9 and you do it at 9:05 and you keep on doing that at 9:05, you've been doing it the last 12 years and there's no problem, right? And, you know, the boss leaves it alone. All of a sudden they hire a new boss, right? And then your new boss, after your 5th time coming in late, they warn you, say, oh, I'm sorry about that. And then you do it 3 more times and now they dig up your past, so you the last 12 years coming in late every fucking day and they fire you. See, what you're doing ultimately will be the death of whatever habit you have. You're better off fixing it on your own than having somebody fix you. And that's the thing. You know what's fucked up about that too, Keith? The person that comes in late every day that ultimately ends up getting fired, they'll just still be like, what happened? Why would they fire me? I don't understand. It's like, nigga, you've been coming in late for a decade. And you wondering why you got fired. And then here go the other excuse. But I mean, the other boss, she had no problem. Like, I technically wasn't late. I was only a few minutes. But like the last boss, she didn't care. So I don't see the problem. And it's like, bro, go ahead and keep living your life like that, motherfucker. You keep going ahead and doing it. You know what's crazy? There's some people that probably been training MMA or jiu-jitsu or something for years, right? And maybe they've created some limitation on what type of work they do. They might come in and do, you know, mitt work and groundwork and this for, you know, maybe they do it for 2 hours. But it's a new guy that came in, right? And he's in there 4 hours a day. So he getting in 2 hours more work. And you may have been in there longer than him, but he putting in more work than you. And before you know it, y'all sparring and he whooping your motherfucking ass. Because this guy's been putting in 4 hours a day for the last fucking 3 years. And you could have been in there 10 years, but you ain't even working no more. So that's like, bro, look, man, you got to be able you have to be able to correct your own behavior too, man. Yeah, so there's that. I don't got a whole lot else to say about that specific thing because we got quite a few more of these.
All right.
All right. All right. All right. Here's another one. Be less accessible. I think that not just in the whole 2025 New Year's resolution situation, but just be less accessible. I think going forward, when you don't put yourself in places that you really don't want to be at that moment, don't fucking do it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do it. If you don't feel it, don't do it. Don't go to the club and act like you having fun and taking pictures and paying for overpriced drinks because you want to look like you got a social life. Nigga, I'd rather be at the house where I pay bills. Okay? I'm not at home that much anyways. I'd rather enjoy the place I fucking pay for on my day off, or go to, take a chick to a movie here and there, or go, have some dinner or something. But I'm not going to be at no motherfucking club, bro. I'm almost 40 years old. And also, too, I think that all the alcohol and the drinks and shit, you can never be your higher self being around these people. Because I think the moment you start to mature is when you in the club and everybody, these women throwing ass, and it's attractive women everywhere. They throwing ass and people drunk and all of this stuff. And you just like, I shouldn't be here. I should not be here. I'm not supposed to be here. That's when you know that you're growing. And then if you look at your circle and they're like, yo, man, we either gonna hit the strip club, we're gonna hit the club, we're gonna go here. It's like, I need new friends. Like you really have to pull yourself out of these situations where you're around all these people. And it's not to say that they're bad people, but they're cosplaying 20 years. They're cosplaying 21-year-olds at the age of 38. Something's wrong here. You can't tell me something's wrong when a person that's almost in their 40s is in the same place with 21-year-olds. No. No. That ain't it. Also built into that conversation, I think that there comes a time when you have to replace some of these fucked up habits, or the drinking and the clubbing. You have to replace it with something, taking a walk. Because there's a lot of people that are doing a lot of damage to their bodies right now. They're doing a lot of alcohol, a lot of really bad eating. They don't even take walks. They don't ever go to the gym. They don't read a book. I think one habit leads to the next bad habit. I've never seen a person that go to the club all night and drink and then pick up a book and read it the next morning. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I never see nobody get shit-faced drunk and then go take a walk in the next morning. It doesn't happen. And I think that you could become a victim of your echo chamber, basically.
Right.
And the more you engage with these people, you also realize you don't have real friends. See, me, the privilege I have is I've had the same best friend for 23 years. And, and I got a close relationship with all of his family. They're my family. Keith is like my little brother, you know what I'm saying? So I have the privilege of being around real people. A lot of people don't have those relationships. So all of their friends is just surface level. Let's get fucked up tonight, dog. You want to go to the bar? What bar we hitting up tonight? And you do this every week? Like, my brother, not only are you killing your kidneys, but you're killing your kidneys and you're killing your liver, but you're also killing your dreams. You can't have dreams when you clubbing every week. The only thing that might work is like rap or something. That's the only thing that might be able to survive with that.
Yeah.
But even a lot of rappers be like, I had to level up. I had to stop drinking and going to the club. And it's like, dang. You look at it like a dude like Future is rapping about Percocets and stuff, and he said he don't even do drugs.
Yeah. Yeah, I think when it comes to like you said, it's little changes that can manifest into larger things. When it comes to, I think most people have a lifestyle that's just not conducive to like being successful. And I think we mostly like lack a lot of discipline. I know for me, one thing that I realized, like, we've been off of work for the past week or so, and like early in our vacation, I was just scrolling, like, just on the internet, whether it was like looking at articles or just scrolling, and it wasn't really like I was learning anything, and I was like, dang, dog, I'm spending like like a lot of time on my phone, just not really doing anything productive. So I literally just stopped, and then I opened up my Kindle and I just started reading. And it was one of those things where I was like, I think most people can't really recognize that about like how they're doing. They're just operating at the effect of like their cell phone. And I think those little things, like you said, like when it comes to, there's some people that haven't read a book in years.
Yeah.
Like they probably have never read a book. And there's some people that like, I'm not a person that enjoys like reading. I'm never going to be like, oh my gosh, this book is so good. Like, I know that there are people that have those conversations. I'm not one of those people. But when it comes to consuming information, like reading about like how to, get a better, quality audio, or how to screenwrite, or what, I do a lot of, reading just for like school and work and things like that. But that's still learning and growing and stuff like that. But
Right.
you can't really, even as great as your algorithm is on TikTok or Instagram, nothing can replace like actually physically looking at words on a page consecutively. That's like going to teach you something.
Yeah.
And I think that more people, instead of just like scrolling and doing that, I think we need to like, get into just reading. There's a YouTube ad where they have it basically says like, hey, if you have a problem with scrolling, try to replace it with this. And I guess it's like an app that has like a bunch of like micro articles that have like, like short, 200 character articles and things like that where you can, you can learn different things. And I think that something like that is a great practice for going into the new year. There was even another thing that I seen where a lot of people, I talk, and I'm not like the most well-spoken person, but sometimes I'll be talking and they'll be like, dang, where'd that word come from? Or how'd you hear that? And there's a lot of, whether it's reading or just listening to people talk, like you come across different words and you can extend or expand your vocabulary.
Absolutely.
And just little things like that. Like those are like, fractional, incremental things that people can do to really become just like a better overall human being.
Absolutely. And I think that extending your vocabulary, it helps you articulate yourself in a more direct way. So when you're speaking to somebody, you're not trying to sound smart, but you just understand how to use these words. Like when what you just said right now, when you're talking about social media, you're just scrolling and nothing compares to just reading a book. The issue is this though, Keith. Social media is just too convoluted. So what happens is you can see something that's interesting and it provides value, but the next thing is maybe some titties come across the screen. You're like, I didn't want to see this. Like, and the thing about it is, it's just like when you're learning in real time, you're learning about a subject matter at one time. Like you're learning about, cars, and you're just reading about cars, or you're learning about music and you're reading about music, but it's not like music, trucks, titties, basketball, football, more titties. Like that's not, your brain is being flipped inside out.
Yeah, the thing that sucks about that too is like naturally, like, those are things that will not necessarily even click on, but like you'll just
100%.
Pause on it because
Right.
that's just like human nature, right?
Right.
And it's like and then they'll just like double down on
It's
that.
like, stop. Please stop doing this. I'm not looking up. And the thing is crazy. Like on my Explorer page, if you click on it, it's nothing but twerking and big old booty. I don't follow no fitness models. I don't know which one of you niggas that I'm following on here is looking at ass all day, but it's affecting my algorithm. And I need you to stop.
Yeah.
Because I know somebody listening to this pod, you got a titty fetish or something. Because it's just boobs all over my shit. And
Yeah.
I would be embarrassed if somebody pulled that up and it's just ass everywhere. And I'm like,
but that's the thing that annoys me about it is because it's not really based off of like what you're looking at. Because even if you haven't really been on there, like they have a way of like getting you to stop. And it's like, it's not necessarily something you're seeking. It's just stuff that's just like popping up, which is like, I feel like that's, what do you call it? Like that's the social dilemma, right?
Yeah.
Just trying to force you to spend more screen time on this app by way of putting breast in front of you.
This is
or
wrong.
Putting,
I just
something
went to my Explore page right now and look what I told you. Look at the top corner. Just
and
huge breasts.
It's not even like, there's a picture down there where this guy's like gotten in shape or something like that.
I don't even follow this stuff.
But even with that, that's something more positive, right?
Right.
Like this person has lost weight. But why don't you put that in the corner instead of the double D's or the double G's?
Because they know where they know what's like where your eyes are at.
Yeah, that's the sick part about social media. That's the like you said, that's the thing where it's like, oh, you see, like you might be following like some historical stuff where somebody's like, yeah, back in 19 whatever, this was the first person to do this, and you get a whole rundown of this, this person that was at the forefront of like electricity or something like that, and then like you said, on the next one is somebody twerking, or on the next one is somebody talking about like sex, or it's just like that's the thing that we like I said, we can't live at the effect of social media, so we have to figure out a way to like undistract ourselves.
Yeah, you have to get your algorithm right, because some people are like, ain't nothing wrong with looking at ass, and it's like, okay, man, like it's brain rot material.
Yeah,
it really is, because you're gonna look at it. What are you doing? Like that's the thing. Like you're just looking at a bunch of women. Like, you just said, like, for example, you see the person's working out, you be like, oh, what are they doing? Like, they doing lower back or whatever. And then you scroll back up after that, assuming that maybe it's another workout video, or maybe it's like football or whatever it is. And he's like, are my leggings too tight? Are they too revealing? And it's like, what the fuck is this? I don't want to see this shit, man. Yeah, but yeah, there's that. All right, let's go ahead and move on. We already talked about keeping your relationship private, but I think that's something you really got to really zero in on.
I would just say, along those lines is like, don't be fooled by the internet. The internet is not real. Instagram is not real. The same people that was, I always bring up J. Cole just because he has a lot of examples that could fit within these things, but the same people that was like, oh, it's over for that, or J. Cole ain't part of this, or J. Cole is that, like, the man went out and sold out Madison Square Garden and re-released his album, and people was buying it and bumping it, whatever the case may be. So I say all that to say that's just an example of like the internet is not real, dog. Like the same people that got these YouTube vlogging things with their relationship, or the ones that have this Instagram like love post or whatever, like all of this, it's just entertainment. And I think once people realize that they will realize that they don't need to be pressured to post anything about their relationship. Just because it's not on Instagram don't mean it's not real. Just because it's on Instagram don't mean it's not real. Like that's just the internet. Like there was a whole 2010 years that went by where niggas was not concerned about relationship statuses. And then all of a sudden Mark Zuckerberg created a little thing on Facebook. Like even in the MySpace days where we had things, it wasn't about freaking relationships. It was just about, you had your top 8 on there, which would be like your friends or whatever, and you might have your relationship on there. But like people weren't so concerned. Like people was just creating cool pages and posting music that they liked and trying to make like the dopest page. But now it's like, because of this, the last 14, 15, 16 years or so, like we've created this world where if it ain't on the internet, then it ain't real.
That's the sad part.
Like I know for me, and it doesn't come without, and I'm a victim of it myself, like just because I'm not a person that just flaunts my relationship all over the internet. But initially it was just like, dog, my social or my Instagram is for my podcast and for my music. Like, and then, you have those conversations and it may be an argument like, why isn't I not on your Instagram or whatever? But a lot of stuff, like as a man, like you just got to stand on and you just got to deal with the backlash. Yeah, you have no choice. But what really happened is like, it just became a choice. Like you see how certain people move and you're like, dang, I admire the way they move, and they keep it all about content. They don't really share their things. And I don't know the exact reason why, but I'm like, maybe it's something to it, right? And then fast forward, you see certain scenarios where you see like people arguing on Facebook, or, you see people posting and deleting and archiving photos and all this stuff. And you're like, dang, that's kind of like, that's not anything that I want to get into. And then fast forward, you see like a scenario like Travis Hunter or whomever, where you like, dang, this is like, that's the reason why certain people move how they move.
Absolutely.
And I get like, if you're in a relationship with another celebrity, like, it's inherent that you're going to be like whatever. But if your girl is just like just a normal citizen that, that works at a library or something like that, it's just like she don't really need to be on the internet. Her job is not affected by, social likes or whatever. Like she still get paid the same regardless. So,
yeah. And another thing too, man, I really think that it's okay to pop out with your lady, but it's got to be in a certain way. Like you notice, like the way Kendrick did in that video with They Not Like Us, with his wife like dancing around or whatever the case. Like, I just think that in the name of content, like, was one of the reasons why she was in the video, and he was also mentioning her name in a rap song. So it was kind of like,
it's also a response to Drake saying that, like, they not together and stuff.
Yeah, I'm popping out with my wife. We in here dancing and chilling, and then that's the end of it. That's the end of it, which is fine. Like, imagine if I'm not posting, because I believe in not posting that. So if I'm not posting that, and then maybe I post a photo of like me and my lady at a Dodger game, I'm not tagging her. I'm not putting her tag in there. We can take a picture and it will be on my story, but it will not be on my page. Yeah, absolutely not. Because you're just giving people ammunition, man. And
I mean, even with that, I'm just like, why though?
Because like, I don't think it's completely wrong.
I don't either. But I'm just saying, like, if you're gonna make that commitment, then like, why like stick the tip in? You know what I mean?
That's a hell of an analogy.
Yeah, I just think, like, if you're gonna do it, then and I don't have any issue with anybody doing it. I'm just saying, like, it does come with, like, it comes with stuff. Whether you're like tagging them or not, like, there's ways to find people via the internet and stuff like that. But I'm just I just think that there is if you don't want to do it, I think that you're making you're saying a lot of things. You're saying, one, like, I don't live my life based off of the internet, and two, I think you're saying, like, I'm not, my life is I live a real life. Like, I have real life outside of this. Like, even for me, like, I don't even think I have any of my family. Like, I think I took all the pictures of like my mom and stuff off of my thing, and I'm like, yo, this is just content. Like, I don't want nobody in whatever year looking back, like, saying anything about any of my loved ones, because what they say, like, they didn't. If you're like an artist, celebrity, like they didn't choose this life. I put myself out there as like this content creator, and if somebody says something about me, then that's fine. But if you're saying something about like somebody that I loved, and it's a different, they don't have the opportunity or the microphone or whatever to defend themselves.
Absolutely, and I'm not going to be having unnecessary conversation with the internet about something in my private life that I didn't put on display. Your weird ass just went and dug into my life and fucking found it. Right? That's why, like, even when we talk about the Travis thing, I'm not trying to dig into that man's life or her life. I think that's why we mentioned it was weird that these motherfuckers was going back finding videos of her. It's just, this is what people do, man. The internet has showed us. And for anybody listening, if your partner says that they don't really want to be on the internet, and you could look at them and you determine that they're genuinely like that, like they didn't post their last person, or they don't, everything basically checks out in regards to them not posting their personal life. Do not push the issue, leave it alone, and just pay more attention to how that person treats you rather than, how much the internet knows that you exist. Because the truth of the matter is, the way a person conducts themselves says everything about their relationship, not the fucking internet.
Yeah. And I know one of my friends, I'm not going to speak specifically about it because I don't want to make it about them, but there was a situation where they created some sort of content, and there was like comments, and I don't even know what the comments were, but there was comments about his partner. And it's one of those things where it sucks to say, but that's what comes with the territory.
Yeah.
You know, like if you get popular enough, and even if you're not super popular, if just enough people lay eyes on any piece of content, there's going to be somebody that's saying whatever, you know, whether it's about the way they look, a compliment, a disrespectful, you know, thing, you know, like, I don't know, but it's just like we said, as Eddie and I, like, we've been, you know, on the internet and social media and creating podcasts for a while, so it's easy for this stuff to just roll off of our back. But like, I'm not swayed by no thing, you know, especially the internet. That's just not real. Like this thing right here, you could just turn this off and go live your life still.
You know how many hate comments me and Keith still get from a video we posted on YouTube?
Yeah.
The other day somebody was like, yeah, y'all corny, y'all trash. Y'all hate your own people, all kind of stuff. But it's like, for one, you know, that made our, what's the name, go up to our subscribers. So I'm sure some of the people that left the hate comments, some of them are fans now. Mm-hmm. Shout out to y'all. But I mean, ultimately, you can make your partner a victim of the internet by putting them out there. Mm-hmm. Right. And that's pretty much goes for anybody. Mm-hmm. And then also, let's say you post a viral video, like let's say you eating a sandwich and your girlfriend eating the sandwich, and you post an innocent TikTok like, me and my girl eating a sandwich, this is fire. And then it goes viral. It's 2 million people that like it. And then it's going to go from, oh, this is cute. Oh, you guys have a cute relationship. And as you go down the comments, it's going to be like, your girl kind of thick. Then the next one is like, damn, your girl got some nice lips. The next one, man, your girl got some big old titties. And it's like, then it gets more and more disrespectful and more weird. There was a nigga in our we had a video, like our video went, what did it go, like 1.5 million people seen it?
Something like that.
Yeah, Keith archived it, you know, for, you know, personal reasons. But that video got so much traction, it was people getting weird in the comments. This one nigga said, man, why don't y'all got hair on y'all legs and arms?
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? And then, did somebody respond to it?
Yeah, that was like, that's weird. I remember that.
Yeah, it was like, that's weird. Like, they ain't got no hair on their arms and their legs.
But imagine that comment about like somebody's wife or something like that.
Yeah,
like,
bro.
Dang, her hair is nappy, or, you know, whatever the case may be. You know,
they don't got hair on their arms and legs was wild though. Mm-hmm. I don't really got that much hair though, so he was right about me.
Dog, this is a freaking camera. Like,
yeah,
I don't shave my. That's what they were saying, that we shaved our arms, but that's just stupid. I don't even want to acknowledge that.
Yeah,
but I think that. But even if you look at Josh Allen just proposed to his girl Haley Stanfield, I believe, and I just looked on his page because I was trying to see like, what is that? You know, does he have his thing on there? She's not even on there. Yeah, I don't even know where the pictures came from. I don't know if he posted them or if the internet found, whatever the case may be. But she's nowhere on his social media, and he seems happy. Like we didn't even know that they were in a relationship.
I think he understands though. Mm-hmm. I think he has to understand the amount of abuse that can happen. Mm-hmm. You know, in regards to that. Like my thing is personally, this is gonna sound pretty fucked up. If my girlfriend or wife is not like have a reason why she needs to go public with a bunch of stuff, if my platform is huge and I'm like a quarterback or something, preferably I would like for her to have it private. Mm-hmm. And that might sound a little controlling, but if you have yours public and people find you and start following you, they're gonna start saying weird shit.
Yeah.
I'd rather you be safe and have your shit private.
Mm-hmm. I think at the end of the day, it's just a conversation, and it's about like, you know, what works best for the couple. Because there's people that have public relationships and it works out. And, you know, that's great. They have kids. You know, you see guys like LeBron and Steph, you know, they're very upfront about, you know, their relationships, and they post their family and stuff a lot. But then there's people that are private about it, which works too. It's just really about like what works for everybody. But I think in either of those scenarios, both of them, you know, just talking to the listeners, we have to realize that you don't have to do that. There's no rule on Instagram that says you have to post like, you know, your family or your
and if you kids. Private, and some people might dry snitch. Like literally the other day, bro, I swear to God, the other day there was on my wall. You know how people could write on your wall? Mm-hmm. A girl that I was seeing at the time, she posted like a kissy face and a heart on my wall. Mm-hmm. And it popped up in my memories on Facebook. Mm-hmm. and it was still there. And I was like, nigga, this is crazy.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like that's something that I would not, if that, first of all, I don't allow nobody to write on my wall. Like nobody can write on my wall on Facebook because people was leaving some bullshit. Rappers trying to tag me with 100 other people. I'm like, nigga, don't ever do that again.
Yeah.
Or like putting something on your wall, like just some bullshit. Some people writing like, "Oh, the Niners suck. Y'all whack," or "Y'all gay," or something. I'll be like, bro, don't fucking put this shit on my wall, dude.
Yeah, that's weird.
So I blocked everybody from sending it on my wall. And if I don't like what you tag me in, I will remove the tag. I don't give a fuck who you are, my family, whatever. If I don't feel like getting all them notifications, nigga, I'm taking my name off that shit.
Yeah. That's you just, I don't know, curate your social media so that it benefits your life, you know. I think even for me, there's like, Facebook gets really weird because a lot of people will start to like add you as a friend just because you're from Bakersfield or something. Yeah. And I stopped. Like initially I was like, oh man, you know the mission, like, oh, I got to get 2,000 friends or whatever the number is. But then you realize like, dog, these are people that is just clicking add because they see whomever at the bottom and they don't even know you. And it's like, it's just a bunch of random people on there. So yeah, I just stopped doing that. My stuff is private now.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, well, there's that. All right, next one. Stop doing things for credit and attention. I think that there's been a ton of podcasters or maybe like, whether it's podcasters or somebody else that aspired to be in MMA or comedy or whatever it is. And when they didn't get the shine they thought they was going to get, they quit. Stop doing things for attention. Because the thing about me and Keith, we've been doing this shit almost 7 years every week because we fucking love it. Right? And I think when you look at scenarios or situations, such as a Joe Rogan that didn't make money until almost 7 years into his podcast, and it's because he loved it and he did it every motherfucking week. But the thing about a lot of people is that they're not getting money or they're not getting affirmation from the internet. They just quit or they're inconsistent. It's like when you go into the gym, you can work out for a minute and not get no results. Are you going to keep going? Motherfuckers will go to the gym and they've been eating good for only like 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? And they're like, I'm not really seeing any results. He's like, I'll go back eventually, but I wasn't seeing no results. Well, motherfucker, you're never going to see them. Because you keep quitting, man. That's not going to bear any results doing that. Yeah. So you if you don't love something, just simply don't fucking do it. That's my point. You know, that should be your resolution, not to quit. Here's a better one. Instead of don't quit, nigga, don't start. If you don't love it, if you really don't want to do it, don't do it, man. Yeah. You know how many people picked up, I'm not going to say no names. You know how many motherfuckers picked up microphones after me and Keith started doing it, and all of them quit. All of them. Just, or they very inconsistent with podcasting where, they do like 5 episodes and be like, yeah, we're veterans. And then all of a sudden they ain't did one in 2 years.
You know what I would say about just the podcasting thing? Like it's people try to overcomplicate it, and I think that's like an excuse not to do it. So with the podcasting thing, like people have this idea that it needs to look a certain way. Oh, I got to get I remember, this is a tangent. I remember I talked to this artist here in Bakersfield. He makes music. And I was like, yo, what's up with the music? Like, you got any new music coming out? He's like, oh, I was just working on my image. I think my image is right now. I got my hair done a certain way. Like, now I'm ready to rock. And I'm just like, dog.
You're waiting for the perfect opportunity.
I was like, The Weeknd, released multiple mixtapes. We didn't even know what he looked like. Yeah. But the music was fire. So I just think that, we can come up with an excuse for every version of it. Like, even for me and Eddie, when we started, it was no audio. We had an interface and one microphone, and we was just thugging it out.
There was audio, obviously. You mean there was video?
No video, I meant. It was we just had one microphone, and we was just recording, and we shared the mic like that. And then fast forward, we start growing and getting more things and, building up like a little aesthetic for it. And then there was a situation where it just started to get too hot. So we didn't even record, video for multiple episodes, but we still put out the audio.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And people were still listening. So everyone has this idea like, oh, I need a video. I need this. I need the background of this. I'm like, dog, like, you just got to do it.
Yeah. To make matters worse, we have all these opinions with no success. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you don't even know what is required to have success. So just fucking do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You
don't know when it's going to come. It's been, many people, Maddie and I are in our 30s, there's been many people that this is the time where they start to reach like the success that they've been working for years and years and years. So I think that what happens a lot of times is just like that. It's that it's like a little graphic or a meme or whatever where the two people are digging for gold, and then the one person turned around and the other one is, you just keep digging and the gold is on the other side of it. But I think that that's what happens with a lot of people. I feel like Nipsey Hussle says something similar to this. Is like, you only fail if you quit. Mm-hmm. If you just keep going. And I think he's the person that kind of epitomizes that the most, because, he released his best effort. It was 33, right?
Yeah.
So, or like 32, 33. So I just think that a lot of people in that position, like especially him, like, it's a lot of artists that are, even the most successful people, like somebody in Nipsey Hussle situation where like kind of mixtape success, hadn't really had like a real album just quite yet, but he was able to do some shows and sell merch and stuff like that, but still was in a position to where like if he just fell off and never released music again, like people would be like, oh, you remember that artist, or this artist was cool, like when they gonna come out? Like he was in a position where like if it didn't go right, then he could still be like the nigga that was performing at the fair and doing features for $500 and stuff like that. Yeah. So I just think like like we are as long as you breathing and as long as you able-bodied, like you can still put yourself in a position to do whatever. But the biggest thing you got to do is like to be able to create a habit out of those things. Like you got to habitually be able to do those things that you're striving for.
And when you look back and you finally reach the success that you've finally amassed after all those years and all that work, you could be proud of the fact that nothing really stopped you. And I don't want to sound like very cliche, like all the bullshit you hear on the internet all day with these motivational speeches and quotes. But I will say, to go through all the things that we've been through and continue to be here every week, I deserve success. Keith deserves success. It's not going to be a shock when we get it. My dad died. I was on this podcast 2 days later. Keith's uncle passed. Keith had another uncle pass. Keith then had all kind of shit happen in his life, and he didn't show up. Mm-hmm. We've had all kind of obstacles that we easily could have said, no, I really don't want to pod this week. And my thing is, that wasn't even a thought in my mind to not podcast after my dad died. I was like, I got to talk about this shit. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But a lot of motherfuckers, like, right now, I just got fired. I need to take a break from the podcast, get my mind right. Hey, man, it's all good. Go ahead and take your break. Take your break if you need it. If you need it, go ahead. But taking breaks don't get you where you want to be, man.
I wouldn't even say that. I would say that, like, most of those breaks be, like, excuses, Because it's like, if I feel like we've put in enough work, if we decided to take a week off, then we could. But I just think that there's a lot of people that like take a break and then it end up being like 7 months.
Oh my God.
And you like, dang, dog, that break is really like that ain't a break. That's like you stopping. Like you
absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Nipsey said, in quote, the only redeemable quality he had is that he didn't quit. Mm-hmm. He said, because there's times where you just don't see nothing. I think the crazy thing about working or working hard or not even working hard, I don't even believe this is hard work. This is just a blind belief that me and Keith have. Mm-hmm. It's such a blind belief that everybody around you can't see it. They don't make a big deal out of it. No, even it could be your own family. They may love you, but they be like, oh, they doing their podcast, but then they'll be back home in a little bit. Like they just don't see where this can go. Mm-hmm. The only one that sees or can give a fuck is you. That's it. Mm-hmm. It is very very lonely, man. It is very lonely when you're speaking through a motherfucking microphone every week and you want it to be bigger because you know you got a message that people need to hear. You know people want to hear this shit. But the truth of the matter is that even though me and Keith have reached the top 25%, that's very impressive. But we want one. We want to be one. If we get 8 is crazy. I'll be okay with 8. But I want 1 because I feel like this podcast is 2 real people sitting on a microphone and talking into it about their experiences and their vantage point of life. But ultimately, what was I going to say here at the end here? Yeah, man. Look, in a nutshell, don't do things for credit and don't do them for attention. If you're going to give food to the homeless, do it because it's on your heart. Give because you're in a position to give. You know what I'm saying? Don't do it so you can take a picture of it and put it on social media. Right? Like that in itself is not going to move the needle in your life. There have been many times I've given to people, right? But I've never thought about taking a picture of it because that interaction was between me, God, and the person I was giving to. And I've just moved on with myself. I'm not looking for credit to do that. And I hope that people can understand that if something is really on your heart, there's going to be a organic and real behavior and response to the things that are happening in your life. You don't have to force it when you really fucking love it. You don't have to go through a struggle of trying not to cheat on your wife when you love her enough to respect her and keep your dick in your pants. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? That's just, it just comes with the territory and being a real person. Right? So yeah, let's move on.
All righty.
Oh, here's another one. We got a couple quick hitters and then we'll be out of this one. Stop stressing over shit you can't control. I think a lot of times, like, we're like, oh my God, there's UFOs in the sky. There's UFOs and there's fucking there's drones and the aliens might come down. Who cares? If they blow us up and kill us, guess we'll just hopefully we go peacefully. If there's a nuclear war and they blow us all up, hopefully we just go peacefully. I have done nothing to cause any of these issues. I'm a regular man. I'm a black man that is a truck driver and I do a podcast. I don't control anything that happens in the world. So guess what? I don't give a fuck about it. I don't give a fuck about it. And another thing too with the whole politics and all that, I just don't care. I don't care what the Democrats do. I don't care what the conservatives do. That shit is above my pay grade. So stressing over the liberals and stressing over the conservatives and who's going to pass this policy and this and that, bro, people, you guys are sending yourself to an early grave, man. You're sending yourself to an early grave over something you cannot control. Yeah. Move, just stop, man.
Yeah, people are really like up in arms about like Donald Trump becoming president. Dog, Donald Trump was president already. Yeah, that's what I'm still alive. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like we just gotta stop dramatizing everything.
Just stop.
Everything. It's just like things are going to happen, you know. And I think I just think that we as individuals need to stop playing victims in every scenario. You know, just go be the, you know, what they call that, like the main, what they call that, main character energy, or what's that new phrase that they're using out there?
I don't even know, man. These kids got some new shit every other day.
Yeah, it's like
one day it's skibbity toilet, next day it's some other shit. I don't know what's going on with these kids.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is just be the decision maker in your own life.
Absolutely.
You know, don't be a victim to every scenario. Don't be a victim to no politics. Don't be a victim to your boss at work. You know, just be at the forefront of your own.
Be player
life.
one. Don't be worrying about what the CPU is doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't worry about that. Don't be a what do you call that? Don't be a what do they call those people that walk around that are like they say they're robots or some shit?
People that walk around that are robots?
No, they said what do they call those people that? I'm trying to think what it's a video game term.
I'm not sure.
Oh fuck! It'll come to me. But it's basically the people that they say that are like it'll show a person that's standing there and they like their eyes they don't blink, they just standing there and you're like, I forgot what they call those people. Fuck! It'll come to me. God damn it. Yeah. Anyways,
they call it what I was talking about. It says main character syndrome. It says it's a social media term that describes a self-centered perspective where someone views themselves as the protagonist of their own life story. Which is not a bad thing in my opinion. But you just don't want to make everything about you. But yeah.
Okay, that what I'm thinking of is kind of what you're saying. I was thinking of an NPC.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The guy that he does the Miles Morales thing. Have you seen that one?
Oh, the black dude.
Yeah.
He's like, hi guys.
Yeah.
I'm a web slinger. I'm a web slinger.
That stuff is weird.
It's hella weird.
Yeah.
But he got out of character one night because he was doing that and somebody was messing with him.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I'm a web slinger. Nigga, I'll beat your motherfucking ass, bitch. I'll beat your ass, bitch. You didn't see that?
Yeah.
That dude went crazy, bro.
Yeah.
He went from Spider-Man to Nigger Man.
Yeah. Nigger man.
What was it? Nigger man.
Nigger man.
Nigger man. Watch out for Nigger man.
It's your friendly neighborhood nigger man.
Dante Parker.
That's funny.
That shit was hilarious though.
Yeah.
Because he was doing like, I'm a web slinger. Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Miles Morales.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Miles Morales. Thanks for the rose.
Yeah.
Thanks for the rose. Nigga, you better leave me the fuck alone, nigga. I'll beat your motherfucking ass.
He said he's gonna stop doing it, I guess.
Hopefully, man.
Yeah. Those are the situations where if you run into that type of notoriety and you could flip that into something like that, you actually, because I feel like there's some people that really have a plan. Like you'll see certain musicians that's like, I'm rapping just because this is the path of least resistance. I could throw a song on SoundCloud and it'll get 1 million views, and then I get like a little buzz, and then I go to a few festivals, and I got a little run. I might get a platinum plaque or something like that. But I really want to be an actor, and I'm just finessing this music into acting, and then they just run and they're in shows, movies, etc. I think if you have a plan, like I feel like the Hot Tour girl, she didn't really have a plan. She's just kind of like out here in the world. But I think if you come across like a viral moment and you a well thought out person like him, and I don't know what his plan is, but knowing that he's not doing that anymore, if he could flip that into like a dope podcast or like a gaming channel or something like that, like that's the perfect scenario for
I think that ultimately a lot of times it doesn't work. It doesn't work more than it does work when you do that. The most successful person I've seen that really, there's more people obviously, but the one that really stands out to me that really did it is Lil Dicky. I think Lil Dicky has not released music in a long time, but that show Dave is super successful.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's something he probably always wanted to do. But Dicky was dope, like as a rapper, but like his energy is put into Dave.
Right.
And I think that is something that really got in there. Because at first, like Tyler, the Creator, is dope, but he's been out a long time, actually. And Tyler was more of like the goofy guy, like the guy that was like, he was one of those like, I don't know if he did animation or something, but I think he was in.
He was in the. I don't know if he had his own show, but he was in one of the shows. But he's a person I think now, especially how his star has risen.
Yeah,
I think he's on this music journey, and I think he's like in a place where he's like, I'm just hitting the peak of like my musical abilities.
Right.
So I don't know if you want to mess with that right now.
No,
but he's definitely a person where I don't know if he can do it himself, but just having the creativity around him, like knowing the type of resources that he has, like he could make a fire. Like I wouldn't want it to be like Lil Dave or like Atlanta or something. I would want it to be like something totally different. But if he did something like that, I think just the way his brain works, in his circle, like he could do something fire like that, I think.
Yeah, I think so. But I think before he started going crazy over the last couple years, I say he really started going crazy like over the last 5 years.
Yeah.
I say, but no, about 5 or 6. I would say about 6.
Yeah.
Before that, he was just a guy where like he was doing skits and shit.
Yeah. Like, they had the show too, with him and his Odd Future friends.
Yeah. And that's all I really knew of him in regards to like that. I knew he made like music, but it was never like what.
It was almost like a gag.
Like a gag, right?
Yeah. Like, oh, you make music, but it's just like it's kind of like you
saying wild shit.
Yeah. But now it's like people taking him serious. Like you gotta put some respect on it.
I wonder if that was like an insecurity of his, the fact that maybe he just was more into just creating art, whether it was music or that, or if he was just clowning around because he was probably too afraid to like let people know
To be serious. Yeah, it's almost like if you put LOL after it, it kind of takes off the, like if if you're talking to a girl like, dang, I want to come over, LOL. You really want to come over, but you just like, you put the LOL just in case she think you joking. But maybe that was like his version of like, I really want to be like a Pharrell, or like a Kanye music, rapper / producer. But if I don't make it serious, then, you can't really say nothing because I'm just joking around. But I don't know. Maybe that was something. It was something there. But I think also with him, he's just like, I think he just cares. You can tell he cares about, just the music. And, that's always going to shine through.
Yeah, that LOL behind that, man, you got to say it with your chest. You got to say, I'm trying to hit it from the back and put a demon sign right there.
Dang.
Let her know you on demon time.
Dang. Yeah, that's for real.
That's wild. Leave a demon emoji.
Or the little dog. Throw the little dog on the end.
Oh, which one though? The dog face or like the whole dog?
Yeah, you gotta throw the dog face on there.
Oh, that's really driving the message home. Like I'm trying to dog you out. Oh man, yeah. Well, there's that, man. I hope you guys get the gist there. We're gonna go ahead and wrap it up with this last one here, but this one is really a pretty serious topic. All right, switching gears, we'll go ahead and wrap this whole thing up. Healthy male friendships. I think that as men, we really need to do our due diligence in keeping or cutting off certain friends that we can't have a conversation with and open up to. And the reason why I say that is because recently I was getting some work done on my truck, and I had a mobile mechanic stop by, and within a few minutes, he was telling me, I got up late, I came from the gym and, just dealing with a lot, man, going through a divorce and, whatever the case, right? Now, when he told me that, like, I think that you could create a safe space for people without realizing it. Whenever you're just calm and you're very kind and very welcoming, I think people start to feel more comfortable around you. And I assured him before he even told me about the divorce thing. He's like, I just got up late. I was like, it's all good, man. Take your time, brother, And then he was like, yeah, I'm just dealing with a lot, man. The divorce and all of this. I was like, damn, man, I'm sorry to hear that. Right? So then he started to elaborate more. But I think that a lot of people are looking for someone objective that is someone objective that does not know them that they can talk to. Because sometimes if you've ever had a conversation with a stranger about certain things, them be the most fire conversations because this person doesn't know you, right? And I think the vulnerability can be a little easier for them because you have not created a whole perception around what they're trying to tell you, right? And I ran into that situation earlier in the day, and then later that night on Thursday night, I went into Walmart to grab a few things, and I went down the aisle to grab some water, and there was one of the workers there, and I was like, "Excuse me, brother." I was like, I said something of like, "Hey, how's it going tonight, brother?" He's like, "Oh, good, man. Just just trying to get this done." I said, "Man, take your time, man, and be safe or whatever." But I think when I just had that little brief interaction with him, he must have felt comfortable to tell me. So we just had like small chit chat, and then he just mentioned that he had lost his son, that his son died, and it was like a couple months prior. And I said, man, I can't even quantify what you're going through, man. And he says, I don't want you to. I was like, I lost my father, 2 years ago. I understand how it feels to lose, but that's very tough, man. And I'm genuinely praying for you, man. And I hope you're going to be all right. And then after that, we just had like a brief little conversation. And then I shook his hand and I said, man, God bless you, man. Enjoy your night and be safe. But for a person to know you for a few minutes and tell you that their son died, and then another man telling you he's going through a divorce within the same day, it just told me how many men either don't have a decent friend group where they could tell these things and get it off their chest, or they might not have the right partner at home, or men are just afraid to open up to people they know. All I know is this, man. There's a lot of men who got some dark stuff going on. They got some deep, dark shit. And I think with my friendship that I've had for the last 23 years, I've been very privileged that if I'm going through it, I could always call my friend and he can always call me. And Keith knows he can call me and vice versa. And I just don't think most men have those relationships. I just don't think they do. I think a lot of men have friendships with men that's like, hey, man, let's go to the titty bar, man. He's like, oh, you're stressing out, man. I know, man. Hey, dude, we got to get you some pussy, brother. We got to get you some head, man. That's going to help you. And it's like, bro, he don't need to deal with a woman right now. He needs to, like, talk to somebody.
Yeah.
I don't really think you can operate from a healthy spot if you just fucking some chick. Because all you're doing is, you're making it worse. Because imagine you're just smashing some chick and imagine if she actually likes you as a person. But you're not in the space to actually see it. So you're just fucking her. And she doesn't know she's a rebound. So you're just perpetuating a problem. So you really need to sit down with yourself and figure out what's going on, and also have a friend to talk to, or you might have to pay for a therapist. Because telling a man that you've met in the first couple minutes that your son passed, and another man telling you about his nasty divorce and how she's taking all of his stuff from him, he's afraid he's gonna lose everything. Within the first few minutes, somebody telling you that, you definitely need to sit down and talk to somebody.
Yeah. I think a lot of us, we don't really have that space, which is unfortunate, and it doesn't come easy because it requires that you're surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals, people that are people that can actually listen, people that don't always I think you handled it well. You weren't trying to solve his problem. You didn't give him any advice. You just listened to his experience. And I think that a lot of times we don't really have people with that skill set to just really just be a listening ear to somebody that's dealing with something. And that's the unfortunate thing, and sometimes it doesn't even happen in your relationship. I think that a lot of partners in general just do a bad job of being there for their partner's experiences, and with that situation, when you're talking about a divorce, man, I don't even know what that feels like, because your whole you set out to do something. You set out to you set these vows, in front of the Lord and your family and everything like that. And then however many years later, he's like, dang, this didn't work out.
He said he was in his mid 40s, he was 45 or something like that. And he got married after high school. So he's probably married at 20 years old.
Yeah.
So you imagine being
20
married
plus years,
married that long.
Yeah.
And you lose this person is a part of you.
Yeah.
So you got to understand what that looks like. The worst divorce thing I've ever seen in my life, bro, I swear to God, this is no lie. Next, one of my neighbors is 74 years old. No, he's 75. This old elderly Hispanic man, right? And he mentioned he was going through a divorce, bro. He been with her since 93. That was his second marriage.
Yeah.
He married her in 93. He was telling me about the Lord or whatever. He was having a conversation. Usually when elderly people start speaking a little bit, I don't just shun them off. I tend to listen for a little bit at least, just to give them a space to speak. But he just needed somebody to talk to, man. And he said, I'm going to go to church, man, this and that. I just was going through a divorce. And with his divorce, it's the worst. And the reason why his divorce is the worst is because he's 75. And at that age, you're closer to death. So your wife is basically telling you, I don't even want to die with you.
I don't want to live the rest of my life.
I don't even want to die with you. And I lended him my ear because I know he was hurting. I knew he was hurting. And then he was talking about God or whatever. And on that day, I was just doing, I forgot what I was doing with my truck. I was just checking the levels or whatever. And then the next day when I woke up, there was a little white Bible that was sitting near my tire. It was on the the little cement the cement thing where you park, the stopper or whatever. I seen it right there, and I was like, that had to be him leaving it there for me or something. So I just took the Bible and put it in my truck. But yeah, he's going through it, man. There are a lot of men going through a lot of shit, and I know a lot of society doesn't really care when men go through things. We're usually the shoulder to cry on, right? But truth be told, men go through a lot of shit. And I don't want to say that all women invalidate men. I don't want to say that, but I will say that there have been a lot of men that have mentioned, right? Because I don't think it's important not to invalidate women, but we gotta give men the same type of energy. A lot of men that have mentioned they've been vulnerable with women, and then when a bad argument ensued, they brought up something very private that cut them very deep. And I think that sometimes women have a habit of cutting very deep when it's unnecessary. Mm-hmm. And I think at that moment, if you cut me that deep, I can't even trust you no more.
Yeah.
I think that at that point, you've made a decision to drop a nuclear bomb on my whole existence. Mm-hmm. And I can't trust you anymore. When I tell you something like this happened in my childhood, and that's why your mother didn't love you because you was doing this, and I'll be like, what? Mm-hmm. When you say something like that to a man, they don't fuck with you no more. Even if y'all stay married, that motherfucker does not trust you. Mm-hmm. It's pretty much done at that point. Mm-hmm. And then you got that same dude that's a married dude talking to a stranger at Walmart because he can't even talk to his fucking wife. Mm-hmm. That's not okay, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I think people have to be very mindful of what they say in heated situations.
Yeah.
Because, sometimes people use that as an opportunity to say, like, the most hurtful things to their partner. Because they're just trying to hurt people. But I think also, I think it's, it goes both ways. I think if we're in that situation and you're on the receiving end of some of that, like, just know that you don't got to deal with that. Like, you know that you don't have to be in a relationship with somebody that is like just, every vulnerable aspect of your life, the most vulnerable thing that you told your partner, like, it's being weaponized or whatever. Like, you don't got to deal with that stuff, And I understand that, like, you got to work through things in a relationship, but just understand that you do not have to put up with that.
No, I'll say this too. I think that over the years, I've had women tell me very private, very personal things about themselves. And even though, we didn't work out, I would never repeat those things to anybody. Mm-hmm. And to this day, whether it be 8, 9, 12, whatever years, women that see me or, might be friends on Facebook, whatever the case, they have a high level of respect for who I am, even though we don't really talk like that. There's just a mutual respect there. Mm-hmm. Because with the information that was told to me, they entrusted me to tell me these things. Mm-hmm. And knowing that I'm not running around, running my mouth, mm-hmm. Regardless of what's going on, they understand, like, they don't have that luxury with a lot of people. Because there's a lot of men that'll run around and run their mouth. Mm-hmm. Usually when things aren't good between people, all of a sudden it's just no holds barred. Everybody's talking shit. Mm-hmm. Not me. Yeah. Not me. And the reason why I don't talk bad about women after it don't work out is because there was at one point I really cared about you. And whenever I cared about you, it was all good. But just because it's not good now don't mean I'm going to start running my fucking mouth. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. What I will tell women is this. Ladies, and I'm really giving you legit advice. Normally I don't try to say this, but you need just please hear me out. Please listen. When a man tells you something, he is assessing how you've dealt with all the other situations that he's seen you in. So if he's seen you in situations with your aunt or your cousin or one of your friends or whatever the case, he is made up in his mind whether he can tell you something or he cannot. Mm-hmm. And if you say, I've been providing a safe space for him to tell me stuff, but he won't tell me nothing, that's because he's seen you in other scenarios. He's seen you. Like, men, even a man that's uneducated will know what he can say or not say around a certain person, depending on what it is. And sometimes, ladies, you providing a safe space can be very robotic. What's wrong with you? What's going on? Talk to me. Talk to me. That is not how men communicate. You cannot interrogate a man to tell you his fucking feelings. That's not how it works.
Yeah, I think that, I don't know. There's a lot there, and I think that women have a very ignorant way of approaching, like, men expressing themselves. And like you say, you can't force somebody to say anything.
No,
like,
all I can tell you is I would just be mindful of how you deal with other things, and possibly there could be a correlation of why he may not be talking. Mm-hmm. And the thing about it is men. I still think men need to do a better job. Men are not off the fucking hook. I'm sorry. I know there's a lot of men that are taking their lives. There are a lot of men that are dealing with things, and they definitely got to talk to somebody, right? We have to choose better friendships. We have to, if we don't have the money for therapists and things of that nature, you have to be around somebody, a male figure, somebody in the church, maybe a football coach, maybe a cousin, maybe it could be a one of your female cousins. It could be a cousin. It doesn't matter who it is. You have to have somebody you can decompress and talk to. I'm not saying you need to oversaturate people who are not paid to listen. All I'm saying is you gotta decompress, because if you don't, you're gonna end up in the fucking hospital that way. I know some men that, you know, they'll remain nameless. You know, a family member of mine that had a stroke, and there was a series of things that happened, you know, including a very significant loss, and he had a very big stroke. And the thing about it, man, is we go through things sometimes, like stress can fuck you up. Not just from like you being stressed out and tired all the time or not getting no sleep. You could literally die. Like this is the proven. I forgot. You ever seen those stories of a woman like that? Like there'll be somebody married for like 60 years, right? And then the wife dies, and then 4 days later the husband dies.
Yeah,
nigga, you could die from a broken heart.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So with men, I think it's a little different, where when you don't feel like you got nobody you can go to, or when you do go to your lady about it, you got to combat her feelings dealing with what you dealing with. So if you dealing with a lot and you tell her like, look, this has been like this, and I've been thinking about hurting myself. It's been very stressful for me. And she's like, why would you think about hurting yourself? Is this something I said to you? What is it? Now you're making it about you. Now you got to calm you down. He got to calm you down because you doing this, and now you made the shit about you. And that in that moment, you gotta learn to let that man vent, and then from a space of, what can I do to help you through this situation?
Yeah, I will never understand how like somebody can say like, you know, I'm just really depressed right now, and then what they hear is like it's about them. It's like, dog, like I think that we as human beings need to work on listening, because people don't even, and this is something like we were listening to Nate Jackson, the comedian, who's doing a lot of stand up. He does these little, I'm gonna call it little, but he does these they're like
crowd work.
Yeah, crowd
1
work
hour,
sessions. And one thing that I got from him, as a society, that the real pandemic is that like people don't answer questions. Like somebody can say like, how are you? And they'll be like, oh man, I'm just going to Walmart right now. It's like, dog, I didn't ask where you were going. And I think in general, like we don't even answer questions. And that's one thing that's like, and I'm not saying that I don't do it sometimes, but I'm just like, you know, you'll be in a situation where you know, you'll say like, when are you going over here? And they'll be like, oh man, I got, you know, blah, blah. And then you're just like, then you ask the question again. Like I just asked, like, when are you going over here? And I just think that that's one of the things where I think that plays a lot into like where men are being like, you know, they are being vulnerable, and it's like it's not received because the person is not actually like listening to what they say. All they hear is like they're listening to it through this filter that, oh, it's about me, or this person is talking about me. But it's like, dog, he's just talking about how he's depressed or something.
Yeah, I also think that the other side of that is this. I think that in society, I don't think, you got to understand how many men don't come to women with their problems, and they may have X amount of years of men not coming to them with their problems. And then they find a man that they're going to be with for, you know, they're married to him and they're in a very long lasting relationship. And he tells you about things. That woman is in a position she's never been in. So it's not to bail her out, but it's to say that men always feel like they need to be the shoulder to cry on. And there's going to come a time where even the strongest person, like who does the strong person go to? Mm-hmm. Being a mentally strong person doesn't mean you don't have moments where you need somebody to speak life into you, or, you know, you're going through some shit. So, and also I think there could be times where there's men who have been like abused, and, you know, they grew up really rough or in poverty or poor, so they know how it feels to be in those situations. So when they get with a woman, the woman could love how that man is there for her, but she doesn't really know how to be there for him because she doesn't know what that looks like. Mm-hmm. She probably had a father that worked all day and night, and when he came home, whatever the case, she never seen him cry. She never really seen him have any vulnerable moments, nothing. There are some men that their father never told them that they loved them until they was on a hospital bed about to fucking die. Mm-hmm. There was a dude that he said his dad was like, I think he was a comedian. He said his dad was, you know, a real hardcore dad. You know, his dad was, he said, my dad was like a hardcore, hardworking Mexican man. And he said, like, before he died, he said, I love you, son. I've always been proud of you. And he said that day, like, he had never heard his father tell him that. Mm-hmm. Because he never, and he said his dad had tears in his eyes. He had never seen it. He could never even imagine his dad crying. Mm-hmm. So on the other flip side of that, can you imagine what women see? Mm-hmm. They see this very stoic man that is, it's not that they're void of emotion, but they don't even express it. Mm-hmm. And that should be something that should be scary to you. Mm-hmm. Because I'm going to tell you this right now about me. I'm going to cry. Mm-hmm. There's been many days I cried, and it felt better when I did it. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad that I did it because I won't be in the motherfucking hospital because of it. Mm-hmm. You know, I won't be on my deathbed barely telling people what I care, what, you know, how I feel about them at the last moment. Every phone call with my best friend, we ended with I love you. Every single phone call. Mm-hmm. Every single phone call, that's how we end it. And I noticed that a lot of men don't have those friendships. Mm-hmm. And a lot of men don't have those relationships. I think this is putting everybody on notice. Make sure that you don't provide a bullshit, how do you put it? Make sure you don't put an inauthentic bullshit display of caring for a man. Don't put him in a position to just answer questions like it's a police interrogation.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is people are gonna be vulnerable if given the space to do so. So, yeah. And I think that it doesn't, you know, like you said, it doesn't come from an interrogation. You know,
no,
that doesn't really. That's not a safe space for vulnerability. But I also think like sometimes you got to create what you really want. And one of my a few of my friends. We have a group where we meet like twice a month, and we just meet to like build and to share what we're going through. And, you know, it's people in there, they're talking about relationship issues, they're talking about, you know, just things that they want to do. They want to get right with they life, they want to make more money and all these things. And we just create like a judgment-free zone where like people can go in there and just like express like, man, I didn't have a good day today. Like, this is what's going on. My girl tripping. This is, you know, like any type of thing. And I think that, you know, if you have that space or if you have those type of individuals, I think that's a great thing. And that's the thing. Those are the type of things that can keep people alive, you know. And it's not like, it's not therapy per se, but it's just a space where we can go in there and we can like express how we're feeling.
In a way, though, I think women mean well when they do this. But I will say that I think women are used to communicating with women, and women have no problem communicating their feelings, and they get used to all these conversations.
I wouldn't even say. I want you to finish. I wouldn't even say women don't have a problem communicating their feelings. I just think women be complaining a lot. Like,
well,
and it gets masked as like feelings, right? Like, it's like when we're talking about feelings, we're talking about, you know, what you're sharing. Like, I feel X, Y, and Z because my dad passed away. Women just be talking about like I'm cold or that's like that. That's like that's not like that's not like that ain't.
But I think the best way to describe it, there was I forgot what his position was, but it was like a describing the psychology of men and women, And they said a man's mind is like a waffle. A man's mind is like a waffle because it's compartmentalized, right? We compartmentalize things. And women, their brain is like spaghetti because it's literally a symphony of thoughts flowing everywhere. It could be like a legitimate thought, like I'm having a horrible day. Oh, my feet are cold. Oh, my hands are cold. Oh my God, Becky didn't call me back. Oh, like that's how their brain's working. They're dealing with a symphony of thoughts, and men are like, I need to take a shit. I need some head. I'm hungry. I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Oh man, I need to go to the gym today. Like it's more. That's just how we are. Men and women think differently. That's why when I said, I think women are used to having, the conversations and communicating with women more, and women do express their feelings more. Even in the midst of all of those, whatever complaints, whatever the case, I just think women are used to expressing themselves more. So when men are not doing it, or men don't feel comfortable doing it at their leisure, then it could become a problem because a woman could walk up to another woman and be like, "What's going on? Talk to me." And she'll be like, "I just don't know." And then boom, she's gonna express her feelings like that. It's like,
it's like it's just part of.
It's like an instantaneous response.
Yeah.
To me like remotely prying, like, talk to me. What's wrong?
It's just like how men could be like, "Hey, like Christian McCaffrey is playing terrible." It's like that casual. Like when you see another 49er fan, like a girl is like talking about their feelings is like exciting for them. Like they're just like trying to do a deep dive on like
so
every thought,
feeling
and
is like sports to women almost.
Yeah.
Wow. Holy shit.
Yeah, but I think it's important to understand that like men don't move like that, and there's nothing wrong with that, and vice versa. But I think the issues lie when, like you said, when women take that as like, there's some issue. Like I think, like that dad, for example, I would imagine whatever was going on when he was lying on his deathbed was a little bit different than how the house was set up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was probably a little bit more love, a little bit more, and maybe he changed as a human being, but I would imagine that like, the circumstances changed a little bit to allow him to just be like, man, I do really love my son, even though I never really said it. Like, this is an opportunity for me to say it. So, if your man is not expressing like every thought and feeling that they have, it's like, that don't mean that they're void of feelings. That just means that they're not communicating with you like your best friend Katie or whoever.
That's also a good point. Another thing too, I think that men that do bring anything to women, and I'll say this, and we go ahead and wrap up because it's getting late. But I think that we have to focus on how we package and deliver things to women, which makes it much different. I think that women don't feel as bad to deliver a blunt message about certain things or a more uncut version because that's how they feel. But men, we more or less have to dilute some of the problems we have because we understand the way that you interpret what we're telling you can cause a bigger issue.
Right.
And that's part of the issue. So if you're a woman and you're like, he doesn't open up to me, that's just not how it works for us.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with your boyfriend. I guarantee you he's a great guy. He might be going through hell right now. But I think that if that's the case, there needs to be a little more observation. And I'm not saying you need to just be dead silent, but there should be more or less a focus on, hey, I'm here if you need me. I'm not trying to get you to talk or anything. I just want you to know that you're safe with me. You could speak to me if you need to. And I'm just here to listen to you. Because there's been many times we've heard women what they say, like, I don't need you to solve my problems. I just need you to listen. Right.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is I think that's important for men to understand too, because as men, we want to solve problems. Right. Now, here's the thing. I think men should just listen. If you keep coming to me with the same motherfucking problem, then I'm gonna come with a solution.
That's when I started to get annoyed.
Yeah.
Like, dog, you said, yeah.
That's when I got to provide a solution.
You said you can't fit your pants 10 times in the last couple of weeks, so let's go to the gym.
Oh man, you cannot respond like that.
Yes, you can. if I didn't listen to you for 10 times, like, okay, honey, I understand. After you've given that soft, validating listen, if it's 10 times, it's like, dog,
you could respond differently though. All you got to do instead of saying, "Hey, let's go to the gym," you be like, "Did you know it's a blowout sale on broccoli over there at the store? Yeah. They got broccoli only 50 cents. We should get a lot of it."
Yeah. The vegetable section when we go in, right before the chips and the fried food, stop there.
Dang. Yeah, man. Well, look here, man. This is the last time you'll be hearing us, man. Before the new year.
2024, the last pod, man.
2025.
Any before we get out of here, any quick goals you wanna just throw out there?
Yeah. Goals. It's like for me, I don't always feel, especially these days, feel comfortable saying things out loud. Mm-hmm. But there's certain things I will say. One of them is the goal for me is to continue to be active daily.
Yeah.
I've been doing a good job at that.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's whatever type of exercise, walking, gym, whatever, staying active 365 days out of the year. Mm-hmm. That's one thing. Another goal is to have a significant interview with someone of some stature in 2025. I feel like me and Keith can do it. Yeah. And it's not because we're looking for some celebrity name to throw around. It's because we've done the work. We've done it every week. We're awesome communicators. And I think that someone that has a platform would be lucky to have us to speak to them, primarily because there are a lot of horrible fucking communicators that get paid a lot of money to interview people. I've seen a lot of people with massive platforms that get celebrities and they suck, right? And I don't want to say no names. I'll just say that there was a platform that had 50 Cent on their platform and they just kept fucking talking over him the whole time. And it was so annoying. I could barely finish the episode. Yeah. Because everyone was just interjecting. There was way too many microphones involved. And I'm like, come on, man. Like, had that been me and Keith, I think me and Keith know every now and then me and Keith might jump on one another, when we're talking. But for the most part, we keep A mic, B mic. Keith's talking, I'm quiet. I'm talking, Keith's typically quiet. Sometimes Keith will cut me off if he is triggered by something. And once you see his dread shaking, this guy's going to talk. I was like, all right. Once you see Bay Area Keith over there,
I'm dead.
Shaking his dreads.
No, I definitely want to. I would like to talk to like LaRussell.
Oh my God, that's
I think
a great
that would
one.
be a dope. He does a lot of like, he be moving around a lot. So I think
he does.
if he like in LA, that would be perfect.
Catch that guy.
Yeah, perfect time to go out there.
Oh yeah,
do an interview with him.
Very smart too. Very smart.
Yeah. He has a good team around him as well, so I think we could learn a lot from him.
Larry June, I love Larry June.
Yeah,
LaRussell would be a good one.
Yeah, I like Larry June.
Oh yeah, those two.
Yeah, those are.
You know who I would love to talk to? He is fucking amazing conversation. He doesn't have a million interviews, but he's super funny and sharp, and that's Currency.
Okay.
Currency, dude. That dude is an amazing interviewer. Super funny, super sharp, very quick with it too. He'd be good, man. That's somebody I want to talk to. Another one, believe it or not, it would probably be a 4-hour conversation. That nigga Tyrese.
Tyrese? That's random.
Yep, Tyrese. Because he's a pretty good conversation. He be going on a tangent. You got to probably reel him back in a few times. Ray J, believe it or not, is another one. Yeah, but I would have to give him because he's super funny. He's also smart, but he goes on a tangent too. But I think that me and you do a great job of controlling the conversation. So once he says something wild like, yo, so-and-so is a sexual harasser, I'll be like, nah, nigga, we ain't doing that. Yeah. I don't know, man. But yeah, as far as that, the aspirations for the podcast are to be known all up and down this state, all around this country. And to make significant money and to break out of that the top 25% spot and go up to at least to 8% by the end of 2025. That's what I'm hoping for. Yeah, man, that's what I've got. What do you got, Keith?
Same, podcasts, like, just like significant movement. And like you said, in terms of like talking to people, just building relationships with different podcasters. being able to just rub shoulders with like, you know, the people that are moving in that podcast space. And like you said, like Laresso is one that I would definitely want to talk to. There's a couple more people that are like at the tip of my tongue, but I can't really say, they don't really come to mind right now. Probably after we stop recording, I'm sure I'll be like, dang, right, I should have said this person. But definitely that. Also, you know, just my biggest thing this upcoming year is just finishing things. Like, I think that I have a bad habit of, you know, doing things to 80% and then not, you know, finishing. I have a lot of like stuff that I've created like years ago. I mean, like literally years I have like finished like fully written songs recorded and everything that are like literally just sitting on my hard drive. And I'm just like, dang, dog, like, why is this? And what happens is like life happens and thing is just starts moving. And the next thing you know, like 2-3 years have gone by and you haven't, you know, finished that thing. So my biggest thing is like, you know, integrity, like finishing what I started. I have like, you know, short films and things of that nature that I haven't finished fully, or screenplays and everything. So what I'm doing now is just getting into a rhythm of like, you know, doing things 100%, whether that's like, and sometimes it requires like spending a little bit of money. Like, okay, I may not have the time to do this, but I'm going to spend 50, 60, whatever here to, I don't pay for a software or pay for a person to do it. And yeah, that's the mission right there. Just to get some podcasts, guests, you know, rub shoulders with like people and build real relationships, like real working relationships with some of these people. And then also to, you know, keep my creative stuff going and just finishing what I started, you know, and stop, you know, doing things that, you know, stop half-assing everything. So that's what's going on with me.
All right, man. Well, for some of you guys, I hope you have some real aspirations. Like, I want to eat booty in public. I'm like, hey, man, I don't know if you're going to be that. That's a crime, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, so good luck with that. All right, man. Well, look here, man. If you made it to the end of this episode, we appreciate you. Thank you for listening to a Trucker's Mind podcast. I'm Eddie McGee.
It's your boy K Fings.
We're out of here.
Peace.